about the beach.
Well, we're live now, so this is going out on the extra channel, which has now got 4 subscribers. I thank Pete, I'm not sure who else. Maybe this channel could grow.
It'd be nice.
I don't know.
It'd be nice if we had a way to signal to those other people that, hey, we're over here doing this right now.
Well, yeah, I need to do that, but also I think it's a case of just promoting this channel as a way of, like, you know, bolstering the other one, maybe, in a way, rather than taking anything away from it. So yeah, anyway, good day to you and a happy Christmas Eve from here.
Merry Christmas Eve to all the kids around the world.
This is my favorite time of the year.
Welcome to our secret episode.
Apart from actually when I'm in Derby at the NET convention, which I've just put on the top of a
There's no
frame
such
I've got here lodged.
There's no such place.
I dropped the frame on the floor and all the glass broke in it one time.
Oh, brutal.
I don't know why I was given this, but here is the NET, as you can see. Just wanted to give that a bit of a mention. This is
I'll never understand
about the troubles.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand your obsession with the NET.
There's nothing to get. It's genuinely, it's about basically me. If there is as an explanation of it all, it's this idea of, like, reappreciation of films which are not very good to start off with. As one example, Avatar. And then years later, people are like, "Oh, have you seen The Net with Sandra Bullock? That's actually quite a good film." Like, what?
Do you think
No, it's not.
Do you think Sandra is one of these successful people that pass as a woman?
No.
I think there are some people in Hollywood that probably aspire.
But no, I don't want to start off on that. That makes me feel a bit. That's. I'm just like, bear in mind, it's like not even 6 a.m. here. But
she's always been a manly woman. You know, she's always had that manly.
Not really. I actually find her
worked in Speed so well.
I think I remember seeing a review of it. I'm not sure if it was Jermaine Greer or someone said that she had, like, very good hips in Miss Congeniality.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
She looked she has a slight masculine quality in her face, but in some women, this can actually be quite attractive. I think that's Sandra Bullock's secret, really. And I remember a gay guy when I was at university. He was all over Sandra Bullock.
I was just thinking about it because I was just watching Saturday Night Live with my grandma that she taped from this week, and it had the kid that played Elvis in the new Elvis movie. And when he came out to do his monologue, he started talking. His voice was super, like, lower than it actually was in the movie. He's like, and he had to make a point of telling everybody, "Yeah, I know my voice
just
changed."
You're making me feel a bit like this is not like a transgender podcast. Okay, I have no interest in this topic whatsoever. This is about films and stuff.
Yeah, well,
I know you're into, like, cross-dressing and stuff, but if I do, like,
we hit another impasse in the conversation that you don't like.
Oh, you know. Okay, we've had 3 minutes. Then we've had 3 minutes in. And you're just bringing in women dressing as men dressing as women. It's like, this is not my topic.
That Elvis, it seems a little feminine.
Yeah, but you don't even know he's the name of the actor, for God's sake, Mandela Man.
No, I forget. It escapes me because I've only seen one film with this person in it. He sure, when he sang, though, at the end, he did Elvis. He sang an Elvis Christmas song, and man, it was like he was channeling Elvis.
I think he was surprisingly good in that film.
Cecily Strong was crying, singing with him. Like, it was so like.
Who was crying?
Cecily Strong. She's on the show now. I don't know most of the people on SNL now, but she was singing with him. And he was, like, channeling the ghost of Elvis so much. She started.
Oh, you mean on SNL? I thought you meant on, like, in the film. Yeah. Sorry. No. But he was channeling Elvis in the film as well.
Very much, yeah.
Yes, this is what they're doing recently. I've noticed this. There's, like, get out there into the cinemas and see Top Gun
Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick again, and I'm like,
Haven't seen it once yet.
no, I don't want to go and see it again. I saw it. That's enough. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
It's not that good. Like people are going, this is the greatest cinema experience of the year. It's like, okay, it's okay.
That's how hungry they are for non-woke content. Though. That's how much.
Okay, can I just stop you there?
It's true.
Top Gun Maverick is about the most woke film I've ever seen.
It is woke?
Yes, absolutely.
In what way?
Bring out the cancer-afflicted character to like make everyone feel so sad, like because he's nearly dead. Then Maverick shedding a tear over it. Maverick is now basically, all my life I've basically been a bastard, so now I have to settle down with this woman, Jennifer Connelly, and it's the whole thing is just like a.
Well, that's very much.
It's like Maverick's fever dream of being a nice guy, when in reality he was a dick in the first film.
Yeah, but settling down, that's like traditional family values, and the cancer thing is just because of
it's a bit woke to
Val
me.
Kilmer in the real world.
If you're saying it wasn't woke, then it'd be fuck family values. Let's just earn some money,
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'll be the judge of that. That's what I heard. I heard, finally we got a.
The film is not about family values. I'm telling you that. It's about doing what the hell you want and just doing it your own way, and that's it. That's why it's called Top Gun Maverick.
When I listen, do it your own way. When I listen to reviews, it just seemed like that was what people praised it for. That it was a classic kind of old Hollywood type of straightforward narrative.
Ostensibly, but I don't think underlying that. I found it overly sentimental and a mixture of that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we're bringing back Tom Cruise, but we'll try and recreate moments from the original film. I just found that at times redundant. I didn't mind it. At times, it was actually quite good. Like the opening of the film, and then Danger Zone comes in. But basically, they're just replicating scenes from the film. And then they have Tom Cruise basically like preserved in sort of amber, like coming in, my hair transplant has been completely successful. I've got the exact same hairline as I had 30 years ago, which is just impossible. I mean, but the thing is, I don't go and see the film to admire Tom Cruise because, he's not like...
He's a megalomaniac.
In real life, I was watching Lemmy, that comedian, going on about the being squirted with the water in Britain. This guy squirted him with water from a comedy mic that squirted water. And Tom Cruise grabs the mic and goes, hey, wait a minute. Why did you do that? And then he starts going, and Lemmy was making a joke of saying, that's really rude. And then he kind of just sort of goes, "You're a jerk."
Right.
And he says it 3 times. He goes, you know why you did that? You're a jerk.
He was being a jerk.
And Lemmy went like, absolutely, but Lemmy went, Tom, step back, a jerk.
Somebody actually confronted me like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, Tom Cruise is like everyone else. Hey, he goes, no. I want to speak to this guy. And when he went away, when the guy was wandering off a bit, because he was like, what's Tom going to do next? And it's kind of all just sort of like, I didn't realize this would be this bad. And Tom kind of goes, hey, wait.
Yeah.
Like, stops him leaving. I mean, the guy didn't leave, but he was just turning away because I think he felt I think what he did, he didn't quite realize the reaction that Tom Cruise would give it, because at that time there was this pranking going on a lot in the media, like in your country, in ours. We had you had the like Eminem thing and all that. Like, I don't really think Tom Cruise was a fan of Eminem too much. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, well, we had that guy from the 70s show. What's his name? Fucking not the King of Queens.
Bill Cosby.
No. You see that the 90s show is coming back now? That's what I've been saying. Like Top Gun Maverick. When's this 80s nostalgia thing gonna go away? is it going to last?
I don't know. I feel like
Usually
Top Gun is almost it
Usually,
kind of it jumps over any real association with specifically that decade anyway. I mean, it's the original film. If you go back to it and watch it,
the movie from the decade.
Yeah, but what was it, 1987? So it's kind of like more towards the end of the 80s. But I never liked Top Gun at all. I remember back in the 80s, I was like, no,
I don't want to. Not a fan back then at all.
I was more interested, honestly, when I saw like, and it was probably shown in my local cinema on a matinee or something. Iron Eagle. I was like, what's this? Iron Eagle.
I like Officer and Gentleman.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, that is almost set in Twin Peaks land. That is like Grace Zabrisky's in that, and
that has a 52 state reference in it. The guy.
It's set in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, the guy says, like the girl they're fighting over, he says she gives the best blowjobs in all 52 states.
Well, it's very kind of hard nosed, I would say.
We never been in a world with 52 states. We're in the world.
I can't even imagine a film coming like that out now. I don't know this 52nd state business that you're talking about. So,
yeah, it records that old memory of the 52 state United States.
Well, I think the film with that it's surprisingly touching and emotional. An Officer and a Gentleman. I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about the
winger at the end and carries her out.
No, like the friend who hangs himself and everything like that.
That's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah.
Why you find it funny that he hung himself?
I don't.
But you're just laughing.
That's the guy I'm talking about that talks about the best blowjob in 52 states.
Yeah, so he's a little bit off. He's a bit out of his mind, isn't he, in the film? And then
he's
he gets over enamored with that blonde girl and doesn't quite realize like that this is not as serious as he thinks it is. So it's about that. It's like the Richard Gere character. He kind of is very much just into being accepted within the as such, but it's like only on his terms. So again, it's another Maverick's tale in a way. Like
this and Top Gun, all these movies they're sponsored by the Defense Department.
Yeah.
It's
like, yeah, you can be a bit of a rebel, but not that much of a rebel.
No,
you can't like kind of go against us. You've got to like get in there and do all the press ups and like, yeah, I will achieve like, and then it's like,
yeah, pretty good.
The Jennifer Warren and Joe Cocker song. I mean, that is like a classic 80s theme, really. It's perhaps a bit overly sentimental, but I can't deny, like they would literally play that before films at my local cinema. And recently that kind of stuff has come back to me again because I've been able to get a bus to where I grew up, which is just a few miles away, but the cinema is all gone, but they've left like the facade. So it's quite almost symbolic,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why? You've left it for what? Oh, it's like apparently
aesthetics.
Well, no, it's like historical, but it's like
a historical god.
Yeah, basically. It's not really the whole building, it's just one part of it, and it was never particularly impressive. It was a cinema that was made with a nightclub beneath it as well. Well, it was originally all a cinema, and then they just sort of added on to it, it seemed almost.
When I went to that concert, that hall that it was in was like crumbling. Like if you looked at the walls and everything.
What hall? In Chicago?
What the hell's in Chicago. It's by Aragon Ballroom. What the hell is it called? It's escaping me now. Where the Smile Radiohead thing was on the 1st of December.
That was about a month ago or something.
Yeah, when you're in there, it very much looks like kind of the Music Box or the theater in Mulholland Drive, but just all the paint crumbling, everything crumbling, like it needs to be renovated. Basically.
Yeah, that's now like an Apple store. The one in Mulholland Drive. It's like you can just imagine, like, kind of people going in, like, this is when Mulholland Drive was filmed. Then it doesn't really look the same.
That's a fucking Apple store now.
I'm not really getting the same feeling. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
You serious? That's an Apple store? That's horrible.
Yeah, they've redecorated it all, so it's all like Apple is always like everything very light, so you can see everything well.
What a nightmare.
And also, it's a way of selling stuff because, yeah,
That's awful. That's awful.
It's not like the Gremlins come down into the cellar and buy your iPhone, sort of like, what? So it's a singing iPhone. Like now, you know, honestly, I'm going around. People now on their phones, they addicted to them. They're just like
For sure.
wandering around like this. There's people wandering down the street. They are hooked to it, and it is absolutely abominable at times. It's just, I honestly think like people like Apple and whatever, they've got people in their pocket. They're just like, what is the most important thing in people's lives? Friends, family, hot water?
No, that fucking damn devil phone.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I've got to message someone saying, yes, that's funny, to something that says is apparently funny on Facebook. Like, happy Christmas. Yes, we know. It's been Christmas the whole month, okay? It's been Christmas for 2 months now. I mean, I don't mean to be horrible, but it's like, you know, come on. I mean, I do think now, though, that Facebook has become invaded with just adverts for the most ridiculous crap. Like, I'm getting invaded with, like, ads for barbers and hairdressers, like, 50 miles away from me. Oh, yeah, I'm going to travel 50 miles.
I won't go to the barber since COVID happened. Fuck all that. I just take the scissors and just put it in the back.
Yes, I know, but the way my hair is, it's like,
what?
I want to get it trimmed on the back and sides. Yeah, I know, precisely. You're like,
come off it.
No, I could cut it myself, I suppose, but I did that during lockdown and everything, and I ended up like shaving all my hair off. And then Josh came on here and he said that I looked like a druggie and something like this. It's like, but anyway, that's Josh for you. He just likes being offensive.
Too cool for us now, you know.
You what?
Josh is too cool for school now. He's just too cool.
No, really, it's not to do with that. It's to do, I think, as soon as somebody has, you know, a commitment when they've got like a child and
he's got
a new relationship. Yeah, so
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not he's too cool or anything. He still posts actually his models, and you've got to give him credit. Like, he made the whole bathroom from The Shining. I mean, people are paying him for these things. So
I didn't see that. You got a clip of that or a picture of
that?
No,
I don't want to go into covering Josh now on here because it's not like he'll cover us on his channel. So, but he doesn't do any YouTube much now because he says he was just getting too much. Like, I think in terms of getting some money for doing what he does, it's useful for him, but like, he can't really easily take the next step to doing like some kind of thing like Voltaire suggested, where it's, you know, he is genuinely skilled though. Josh, he got like a first in his music degree. And
what did Voltaire suggest?
He knows what, I think something like kind of helping people, you know, design. I mean, even like architecturally, he's on that level, I would say.
I'm currently trying to learn how to program video games, and oh my god, it's tediously hard. It's just like so much shit to learn.
Everything is it nowadays. I mean, you can't now just say, okay, I'm just going to start making architectural models and go and work for somebody, and they're like, oh, okay, have you got a degree in architecture? Oh no, I did a degree in music. Oh, well, maybe you should at least try and do this, and this course. Like, how long are they going to take? At least a year. Then it'll probably take another 2 years. What? You know, I mean. Anyway, now, you know, it's everything takes too much, and you can't afford anything anymore because. Can you believe it? Like, when I went to university, I actually got money to help me do it. They gave us grants.
How long did you go for?
Well, I went initially to university for 3 years, but the whole experience was both very, very good in the sense of moving somewhere far away from where I was, but at the same time, it was like, am I just like running away from things by moving this far away? And but
how so?
but it
Running
no, I
away?
don't want to go into that. I think it's very much just a story that is common for many people. They probably at that age you want to separate yourself from your family, don't you? It's
Yeah, I did that for a while.
but I would say that I did it a little bit too much.
I could work back in the day. Held down 42 jobs, and then I was put a fork in me. I was done. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, it's
hey, I saved something.
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I saved something to show you, bro. You know, are you aware of this whole Sam Bankman-Fried thing that's going on with this guy?
no.
Have you heard of the name?
Well, I've heard of it from Ghostbusters.
Sam Bankman-Fried? So maybe you want to look up that name.
Your sound's gone all
Anyway,
funny.
my
I'm not going
sound's
to look
gone
up names
wonky
whilst
now.
we just do the video now when nobody's watching and
Well, I'm
stuff.
trying to show you something. All right, I'm trying to show you something interesting. So he's
Is it film related?
a buddy of all these for people. No, it's something I saved to show you and your viewers. Just a little aside here.
Okay, I think it's better to talk about it, as we've discussed. I've had so many problems recently with showing stuff on screen, etc. Just talk about it.
Okay. Well, they've arrested this guy for selling what they call FT, which is like a
Oh, I know who you mean.
kind of
Right,
like
okay,
the
yes.
kind of like the
On what
NFTs,
platform?
right? So his thing was called
On what platform was this?
I think he had his own called FTX. I don't know what platform. What do you mean platform? You have wallets that and things like this, like for NFTs or Bitcoin, things like this.
No, but
So
I thought he
kinda
was
scamming
famous
people,
from
right?
something specifically on the net. The
He's
sound
just
has gone to shit a bit at the
a
moment.
renowned programmer. Yeah, that's kind of weird. As soon as I bring this up, my sound goes to shit. You can hear me?
Yeah,
though?
that's called coincidence. And the fact that you're going live on a shitty phone.
Coincidence for you. Here's a weird coincidence for you. So everybody's aware of this Bankman-Fried fella. If you're not aware of him, look him up. So the other day, I'm getting Chinese food at my local Chinese place, right? I take the Chinese food back. I eat the Chinese food. I get to the fortune cookie, which I always love to open up and look at and eat, right?
Do you mean you're in there eating?
The fortune cookie and get.
Can you just? Do you mean that you're actually in there?
In my fortune.
Or you did takeaway?
In where?
You said you went to the Chinese.
They gave me. Yeah, I went to pick it up.
Can you just do something with your phone or whatever? Lift it up, move it around. The connection has gone wrong.
What, bro? Well, you want to retry the connection?
No, I think you need to.
Like
I said before, you really need to demand that laptop if you want to carry on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I open up the fortune cookie, right? I get this fortune right here.
I can't see it. It's too close.
Okay, it says, if money talks, then Bitcoin sings. See that? If money talks, then Bitcoin sings. The weird thing is, on the back of this, look at that. FTX. That's what he's scamming people with. So I don't know how this is possible. I don't know if he personally paid to put this into fortune cookies, but I think it's pretty damn weird, don't you?
It's promotion.
Yeah. But a fortune cookie, have you ever heard a fortune cookie say, if money talks, then Bitcoin sings? And then FTX promotion? I've never had that. I've never had any promotion opening a fortune cookie before. This is the first time ever my whole life. And it's FTX.
No, is it that surprising?
Yeah, I think it's real strange and real weird. Yeah. Especially, he's connected with all these elites. And this was this, he got caught.
What, you mean like Chinese food elites or something?
I don't even know. Well, there you go. I guess you figured it out because these cookies are probably coming from China, right? I imagine.
Or other areas in the East.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty damn weird.
Yeah, but in those countries, they are obsessed with all that kind of stuff, technology and everything. Not so much. I mean, yeah.
Right. You know what's weird too? I was thinking about the other day. I remember a couple of Olympics ago, like at the end of the Olympics, they were showing like Mario that the Olympics was going to be in Japan. But then when the Olympics came back, they were in China, not Japan. And there was no Mario stuff. There was nothing because it was during COVID. They really didn't even have the big production like they usually have.
Okay, but when they were showing Mario, were they in Japan?
Yeah, they were. At the end of it was like 2 Olympics ago. At the end of the Olympics, they're like, here's a sneak peek at what we can hope to see in next 4 years Olympics in Japan, and they showed like Mario going down.
Well, it's like with the Twin Peaks thing in 2020 at Graceland. It was cancelled. So
is that back on? Did I hear something that it was back on? Maybe.
Did you hear something? What, you mean someone called you
I
on the
thought
phone?
I heard Cameron or somebody mention, maybe you mentioned that it's back on, that they're doing it again. Or...
If it was back on, that would be the leading topic of the video.
Oh, so you haven't heard this?
No.
Okay.
It's not back on. I can tell you that.
I heard that. I don't know where I heard it from. I thought I saw an article.
I think Lynch is quite very much just gone a bit Inland Empire now.
Oh, you know what else I heard? That reminds me. You tell me, because you're the expert, right? I actually heard a video the other day.
I won't say that.
I was watching a video about Lynch's Dune. I've heard the guy in the video claimed that Universal did actually offer Lynch go ahead and recut the thing into what
recently, yeah.
And he said no, I've moved on.
Now he's more open to it.
I wish he would, bro. That's that one movie of his that like
not something which interests me really, I must say.
I am very much interested. Yeah. I am very
I think the Dune cut is some people will definitely watch it though. So if there's a market for it, then and there is now because of Dune.
When he says I died the death and the death I did die or whatever, however he says it, it really makes me think like, wow, there really must be some drastically different interpretation that he had that got wiped away. I mean, he seems so upset about it all these years. Anytime anybody's ever asked him about it, he just, it's like,
well, you've got to bear in mind, like the demands of filming it for him.
I in this day and age with the Snyder Cut and all these things,
that's not even comparable, though, is
it? If somebody told me that he's cut it together the way he wants it, it's coming out. To me, it's almost like
Snyder?
Dune. Lynch.
All right, let's move on from this. This is just I don't know. We seem to be just going around different topics, like kind of randomly.
It's half as good as him coming out with a new movie to me. I mean, I would love that.
Well, I completely disagree with that. This kind of resurgence in things just bringing them back for me is like, okay, now, no, we've done it now.
I want it bad. I'm itching. I'm like what's his name says on his channel. I'm itching for more.
Is that Cameron or I don't know?
Wow, Lynch. Wow, I think I'm just itching for more.
When did he last do a video?
I don't know, but then he says that at the end. He shows the little girl with the rash, and he always says that at the end of every video. I'm just itching for more. Come on, Mr. Lynch.
Yeah. I'm not really sure
Share my sentence.
I'm a fan of his but yeah.
Oh, I like his videos.
The triumphant return of
Nice
Twin Peaks
voice.
was pretty funny.
He's got a good voice, I think, for doing those.
Did you want to carry on? I thought you said you wanted to carry on talking about the Fablemans. That's originally why I started this video.
Well, we can talk more about the Fablemans if you want. Like I was saying before, it seemed like a movie about how eccentric his mother was and how the family wasn't comfortable with her. Like I said, there's that one scene in the middle. It's kind of like the like I always say, or I learned, watching script writing classes, that in the middle of the movie is where you put your main message that you want to get across. Usually, about 50%.
Whereas Lynch always says that if you want to send a message, go to Western Union or something or whatever.
I remember him saying that. Yes, you're right. But her.
I don't think Spielberg sends messages, but from what you're saying by the film, I think the entire film is definitely full of a kind of deep-seated edge to tell the real story of his family, basically. Yeah,
it's a kind
I
of.
suppose you could say that that's a message.
It's a semi-deep film. I mean,
semi-deep. You could put that on the poster. This film is semi-deep. Recommended. Mandela Man, aka Ben. Semi-deep.
I don't know. I keep thinking about it when I wake up in the morning, to be honest with you.
Thank you very much for the.
Like I say,
Merry Christmas.
The camping scene where she starts dancing in a see-through nightgown. The kids. He makes a point to show that his sisters were like very upset by that. But Uncle Benny, Seth Rogen sitting there just like, no, it's fine. And just
my God, he's played by Seth Rogen.
In like a dream state as she's kind of.
Is Seth Rogen good in that role?
He's barely in the film. He
always plays. I mean, he always has a slight off-putting quality about him. So I see why he could be cast in this.
He's got his famous off-putting laugh. It makes a heavy.
I find him quite. He's okay, but he's not someone that I would particularly want to chillax with. He seems like an over-dominating kind of person. Like, hey guys, let's just all smoke dope. No, it's all right. I don't want to. Okay. Oh well, you can't be in my gang then.
Yeah, well,
I mean, at least someone who's got a family. It's just basically grown men who act like kids.
I'm sure you saw the Green Hornet with him in it.
No.
Oh, you never?
I only know him from things like the 40-Year Virgin and then Knocked Up. And by the time I'm Knocked Up, I was like, no, this is shit. I
just don't understand why they've chosen to give him the Ninja Turtles franchise right now. It's just a mind-boggling decision to me.
because he's he fits the brand, but at the same time, it could be a mistake because he's yesterday's star. Unfortunately, I mean,
yesterday's what?
Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is Hollywood all over. You can still be yesterday's star, but have a career that goes on another 20 years. I mean, he's doing producing now and all this kind of thing. And it's like, that film, The Christmas Story, Christmas. It's produced by Vince Vaughn or something like that.
No, I don't
It's like basically A Christmas Story 2 with him grown up with 2 children and a wife.
Oh, this new Christmas Story thing.
Yeah, and he wants to be a writer and everything. But it's like the original one was really funny. This one is not funny. The film's already failed.
Have you watched the whole thing or just 10 minutes of it?
I've watched about getting on for half now, and I watched it in 2 parts. It was so boring. And I hate to use that word, but it genuinely was. It was just like, this is so uninspired. Like, he goes into the loft and then he sees some of the decorations, and of course, not even the leg is shown from the original film. Like, something of that in a box. Obviously, that's going to be brought out at a later point for another, like, and the mum is played by a different actress. Ugh. And they're filming in that actual house that they filmed in the original film, but it's supposed to be like 70s. And so it's now got this kind of like, hey, everything was like orange or like bad taste, like, and he's wandering around this massive coat with like kind of big collar.
Orange. A lot of things were orange and like.
Yeah, but his coat looks like it's just been brought out of wardrobe. It's not been worn at all. It's like, I just got this coat today.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem I have with these flashback movies nowadays. They just look too clean. It just does. If you're gonna,
the streets, they're using bloody Hollywood lot streets, and then just basically, because it's cheaper to do that probably than do it actually on a real location like they did with the original Christmas Story, which in itself was, for the time, was probably a relatively lower budget film, because I've seen.
Well, you know what? If you want to evoke an earlier time period, I feel like what would be what would do that better as a filmmaker is if you actually acquired the actual film cameras from that time period and used that in the film.
No, absolutely, but it's not just that. You'd have to go back to the actual locations they used in A Christmas Story. Like, you know, in the school in A Christmas Story, that was filmed in the early 80s, and yet that building they used for the school was vacant at that time. So,
so there's a Mandela effect in the original movie. Do you remember Ralphie? Think about this in your mind's eye. Is anyone in the
mindscape?
Your mind's eye.
Mindscape.
Your imagination, right? And studio audience or our audience, think about this. Do you remember Ralphie being dressed up as a Thanksgiving turkey? Can you actually envision the turkey suit on him right now as I say that? No.
He's not dressed up as that at any point. So his brother is dressed up as like a bunny or something, or a
Easter bunny now, yeah. But
his brother's dressed up as this kind of thing where he can't put his arms down. I think he is dressed up as something Ralphie is, but not.
See, you're thinking arms down.
Not turkey.
You're about that old turkey scene. Because he couldn't put his arms down.
No, I'm not. That's his brother.
There's a memory creeping in there. Is it?
When is the last time you watched the film?
When I found out about the effect, and then I went to look for the turkey uniform.
So therefore, you saw that
years ago.
There's a scene in it where his brother can't put his arms down because of what he's wearing.
You want to show the scene you're talking about?
All right, let's just move on now. I think you've just gone into some kind of like
we're getting somewhere interesting.
Psychotic moment now.
Let's get down to it. We're getting to it.
Do you want me to show a scene, even though the other channel has been blocked for a week because of this kind of thing?
What does that mean? What kind of thing?
Okay, I think we've pretty much finished today then.
I don't know. I keep trying to do my review, and then you keep trying to steer my conversation into like Normalville all the time, and it's like, why? We get to somewhere interesting. I'm trying to make a point. You're like, fuck me.
What?
Well, you're like, okay, let's just end the show. When I try to make a point, it's kind of gets aggravating after a while, bro.
Well, get aggravated then.
Okay, all right. Look, Fablemans, right? I sent you 2 clips.
It's not like I'm doing this show for you, am I?
No, we're doing it for the audience, bro.
Yeah, but right now there's only one person watching Mandela Man.
But people will watch later when they find out.
Not if it carries on like this. You're saying bring up the clip, And
Yeah,
I'm quite
but
evidently saying don't want to do that at this moment. It's like 6:15 a.m. here. I don't want the show to just be about clips.
okay.
I thought I already made that quite,
All right. Let's get back to the Fablemans, right? So these kids, they're sitting around. Spoilers for anybody. Kids are sitting around the campfire. They're very uncomfortable with the way mom is acting eccentrically. Like I say in another part of the movie, she takes the kids to chase down a tornado instead of bringing
Yeah,
them.
but the thing is it that eccentric? Because to me, I don't consider that eccentric. I just see it as being.
Well, like I said, she's carrying on an affair with Benny. You know the.
Right, but let's not be moralistic about any of this stuff.
But
It's
that's what
like,
the movie is about, James. That's what the
yes, but
movie.
the film is not a moral lesson.
Oh my God, is it?
No, I think you're misinterpreting it, in my opinion, from
Later on,
not having even seen it. But I don't think that some woman dancing around in lingerie, however transparent, is a lesson or anything like that. She wants to basically be something different
she's
than her
being
life is. That's all it is.
sexual in front of the family, in front of Benny,
She's
and
not trying to turn her kids on.
and the husband at the same time. The kids are obviously.
Yeah, but she's not conscious of that so much.
But the kids are obviously conscious of it. They make a point to say it.
Well, clearly they find it unsettling, right. I suppose.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Okay.
but she's in a state that she's not aware of that quite so well.
But she's not like drinking or anything. You know what I mean?
No, but the thing is, she's in a situation where her would desire to be loved and to want to be accepted for who she is.
That's fine. I understand.
Has been facilitated by this uncle, for instance.
But you're seeing all. I mean, they're seeing all this through Steven's childhood eyes. You know, his perception of it, right? Later,
yeah, but I don't think that the film is about some kind of like, okay, my mother was this terrible person, because at the end of the day, really, it's like
deep down, it is about
the dad was responsible for this, wasn't it?
By being a bore.
Well, no, not a bore, but by being so not divested enough in the family to say, okay, this can carry on, like, because for her own mental health in a way.
Well, in
a way, it's not like he's making her worse, but he's facilitating her kind of escapism into dodgy areas, you know.
When he moved the family away to California for his job, he specifically was acting like he knew that he was trying to get her away from Benny. I mean, it's unsaid whether he's aware of it or not, but he seemed like in the movie, he seemed damn proud of himself that he had gotten them away.
I mean, to be honest, the way you were describing the film, and it brought to mind, for instance, A Beautiful Mind. I actually thought that at one point you're going to say that the Benny character is not real and is in her head. But the fact that this character is real in itself is more alarming and gives the film.
Well, even in the beginning,
what you're saying is a moral compass. You know?
Even in the beginning, the kids, I think at breakfast, are a little bit confused as to why if they make a point to say he's not our real uncle, why does he live with us? Yeah, why does he live with us?
I mean, even if your uncle lived with you, you might wonder why is he living with us. But absolutely, I think, you know, at Christmas time, people get together and we may have all sorts of different gatherings. It doesn't have to be family, but it's an accepted thing that people behave in a sort of understandable way. If someone gets up on Christmas Day and starts dancing around in a diaphanous nightie or anything like that, or a man in see-through pants, you're like, what the hell's going off? I mean, this is just. But the thing is, she's not doing it to be provocative, is she? She's doing it because, as you say, there's an underlying kind of psychological aspect to it. She sort of has an underlying thing of wanting to be a performer of some sort.
Yeah. So later in the film, the guy from Taxi, I think his name is it Emil Hirsch, or am I?
Yes.
Okay. He comes in as the older uncle, right? Before he gets to the house, she says
he's a good actor.
before he comes to the house,
I remember him in Man on the Moon. You know, when he.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that was cool. Getting them
Those
all.
scenes that was how you do like flashback. Don't pretend that we're all the same age. Just sort of go with it, like, because it still looked pretty good.
So before he comes to the house, the mother wakes up in the morning and she says to the kids, "I had a dream last night that." Another part of this film that I forgot to mention was the death of her mother. That was a big thing that caused her depression to kind of get
Was
worse.
she very attached to her mother, or?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it didn't take the time to show that. It did a little bit.
Well, then it would end up being like a 3-hour, 4-hour movie, wouldn't it?
Right.
Or a TV show. It could have effectively been an 8-episode TV show, I imagine, this kind of thing.
So
would you have liked that?
I would. Yeah. I would have, yeah.
I would have watched it, probably.
I
imagine that there are sequences in this which are very well made. There are other sequences which are like more just,
I really dug this movie.
Okay.
It's been so long. I mean,
there's some really good visuals in it, because some of the stuff with the trains, and then there's an actual real train shot. But I mean, this is not a film with the budget of, like, obviously Close Encounters of the Third Kind or something after.
No.
But it's not like minimal budget either, is it?
No, it's well made.
You need to watch it now.
Anyway, when she wakes up in the morning and she says, one morning, and she says, "Oh, my dead mother came to me in my dream and told me not to let in the man who is coming to the house today. Whoever's coming to the house,
men are coming.
Don't let in this, right? Yeah, don't let in this man. Don't let in." So my brother pointed out to me that this is a reference to actually Poltergeist, the second Poltergeist, when don't let the man come into the door, come inside the house. This is word for word what they say in that movie when the old man comes to the house, right? But in this movie,
well, Spielberg would have probably been an executive producer or something on Poltergeist.
Well, yeah, he was very much involved in the first. The first movie is almost like.
I don't think he was much involved in the second one, but I'm sure he's like very familiar with the film. But
that first movie, it could have been argued that it actually should have been maybe in the credits directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, maybe
he was so involved, but he was involved with the second one.
I'm sure he definitely directed some of the scenes partly, but I think with Poltergeist 2, the other side, I mean, it just doesn't stand up to the first film, does it?
The second, no, but it is a good movie too.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like
it's not
a flop or anything like that. It's
that old man.
It's a little bit like slavish, but then it goes off too much in the American Indian sort of area for me.
Well, I like that aspect. The old man comes to the door. That was one of the best aspects, and I take it from this movie.
Yeah, but why would the Fablemans, for instance? Personally, you just think it's inspired by that a little bit, perhaps? The idea of
maybe that's where the idea came from for that scene.
I mean, there's an underlying suggestion of something like they want to get Carol Ann, this kind of idea, but like, why? Why do they want to get a little girl? So
you don't want to know.
So the whole thing is like a
thing about why she died.
Well, I don't think it's to do. I don't think it's as
it was the obstruction. Yeah,
cut and dried as that, but it's definitely.
So anyway,
yeah, behind the scenes, like I don't think Poltergeist 2 is a story about like her life. What was the name of the Heather? What was her name? Heather O'Rourke. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't completely agree with what you're saying that everything is to do with paedophilia, but I think from what I've heard anyway, there would be even like showcase talents and things like this with her. And they'd be like men in the audience, like
crazy back then, dude. They were out of hand. I've heard some crazy. I mean, whatever. So Emil Hirsch comes to the house, filling in that role from Poltergeist or whatever, and he stays for. He says that I used to work in Hollywood. I take it maybe this uncle's former Hollywood connections is why he gets to meet John Ford at the end of the film. Perhaps it's kind of implied that maybe through the uncle's connections that made that happen. The uncle stays with them for a day or two or whatever, and he tells Steven all about how the mother is really like this super artistic person that could have, played Rachmaninoff in the Philharmonic Orchestra, stuff like that.
Yeah, but that kind of thing, it's like, it's La La Land, isn't it? It's like, oh, well, yeah, you could have been the star.
Maybe that implies that she gave that kind of life up to raise the family,
or she's living in a fantasy. She's pretending that she could have been famous, and people are facilitating that.
When the whole movie is about her,
that's what Mulholland Drive is about, partly, isn't it? It's like,
what's that?
Well, you can convince yourself that you're hugely talented and all this kind of thing, and think, yes, I could have made it, but at the end of the day, you didn't.
Probably because she was raised in a family, though.
But not just because of that. I mean, I think it's
for the theme. That's for the theme of
also because she had an underlying mental illness. So, if she'd gone to Hollywood, it would have appeared anyway. So,
did she really have a mental illness, or was she just slightly eccentric?
Well, yeah, I think both, personally. Where does eccentricity come from?
I just think the way that uncle gives that speech, it kind of ties into her love of Uncle Benny and the fact that, like,
for instance, I would give an example now on this. I'm eccentric. So, make up your own mind on that. I think that you're quite eccentric as well.
Probably. After she moves,
I don't want to label you on Christmas Eve, though.
After she moves, she's willing to leave the whole family behind just to go back to Uncle Benny. This tells me that she's tired of raising a family, and that the family maybe took away from her artistic endeavors, in a younger age, and that all this thematically plays together. That's why the uncle gives that speech in a way. Okay, so later in the movie, Steven meets this girl in high school, and not only does Steven's father work for RCA and then General Electric, Uncle Benny and everything, but Steven then ends up meeting like a beautiful young girl whose father is like a rich so-and-so. Now, and she comes to dinner with the family, and she ends up telling them at the dinner table that, oh yeah, my rich father has this fucking Bolex like special camera or whatever that Steven's dying to use. And she's like, oh, Steven, you want to help me do this beach thing for the school, where they're gonna film all his classmates, which usually pick on him for being Jewish, which is kind of an obvious thing that he puts.
Were there no other Jews in the school?
It seemed like maybe not. That's the way. I mean, they're very much, the kids in the school are very much like caricatures of kids back then. But I
watched this video about Peter Sellers yesterday, and he's
so interesting to me.
I mean, he was Catholic, but then Jewish, and so he adopted the Jewish thing, and then he got labeled with being a Jew, and then so he even said like his whole acting career was sort of to do with partly that anger, but he was a very interesting character.
It's
like
weird.
This video actually described him as very bipolar, which I would kind of disagree with, that he was just that. I think he was very insecure, and it was trying to say that basically he couldn't detach himself from his characters underneath that. But I just think he was just very insecure. And,
it's weird.
When you've got disposal to that amount of money, and sort of, he was very like cold though to some people, the way he treated them. Like Britt Ekland got pregnant or something. He's just like, get a divorce, and then just left her at the hospital. Or he left her, sorry, did she have a baby? Not have a divorce, I don't talk about all this kind of stuff because it's a bit.
Well, it's
I'm
weird.
Not really a Peter Sellers fan, but I think that he was definitely an interesting character. There's no denying that.
It's weird you mention that, because it goes to show that that the internet is feeding us the same kind of videos. Because I watched that same.
No, it's partly to do with us though, because
I watched that same exact video earlier.
I've watched some videos to do with mental health and things like this, and this was partly about that. But I do think that it was more from a novice's point of view. They didn't really understand. Like they'll just say, "Oh, he had this, he had that." But I think someone like Sellers, he was very resistant to any of that. Like in his later, he got invested in kind of like the occult and stuff, which is probably not a good thing.
But that tells me it was the same exact video that I watched. And you
yeah,
saw
it was.
What haunts me about that video is what they say at the end.
I think it's a popular trending video.
How he died. That he could have had like a it haunts me personally because
he didn't want it.
They say they offered him a surgery, open heart surgery, and
he was too egotistical even to.
You notice too in that video though, you talk about Britt Eklund that he had an.
He could have come round to doing it, but he clearly just put it off for too long. And he was someone who would just like literally chase women by the sounds of it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you notice, he put out, I think his second comedy record was called Swinging Peter Sellers or something like that.
Yeah, right? I mean, it was kind of like
Swinger.
It's a different time though, wasn't it? Like pre-AIDS and everything. But the thing is,
a normal man would see Britt Eklund and just be happy enough to have Britt Eklund. You know what I mean? But this guy was just like, go get it, go get rid of the baby.
As soon as he had... I can't remember if she had it though or no, but anyway, like also he was with someone who did have his baby. He just dropped off at the hospital and then left her.
Unbelievable.
I mean, his behavior was crazy, and he would have sports cars and stuff. And
we got a lot.
I mean, he had a lot of like he was a magnetic kind of charming personality. But the thing is, if you compare him to say, I mean, there's no one comparable nowadays because
he was brilliant.
Everybody has to be like square, George sort of like action hero or something. But he was the opposite of that. But
I don't understand why the French didn't. The French love. What was the guy who used to play with Dean Martin? What's his name? The comedian. He's that guy. What's his name? He used to do the telethon for the.
You can't just ask me American references and expect me to know.
Lordy, can't think of his name. Shit. Martin and Lewis. Okay, Lewis, right?
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis, right? Okay. The French love Jerry Lewis, but I don't understand why they don't love Peter Sellers more. When you watch his.
Well, I'm sure they like some of the Pink Panther stuff, sure.
The Pink Panther stuff specifically, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I would have thought that would...
Maybe they thought it was too stupid and it was poking fun at the French. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe, I mean, it is stupid, let's be honest, but that's part of the hilarity of it. I mean, when I was young and I saw him fighting Kato or whatever, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
It's fucking brilliant, man.
Like, the slow motion stuff of like, it's just... And then I would be playing it, pausing it, and then think, come on, you've got to watch this now. And then, no, turn it off, James. Now it's just too much. Like,
and vice versa, he could do a movie like Being There, which I think is like, the more.
I mean, and a massive influence on Carl McLaughlin for Dougie.
It's a brilliant movie.
But that's on another level. That film.
It is on another level. You can watch that multiple times.
I mean, that is a film where I would be with you 100% as far as reading into it and going into the kind of world of the conspiracy theory and all this kind of thing. Because, Kubrick, yes, of course, he was fully aware of all that kind of thing as well. Not that was a Kubrick film, but you know what I mean? I relate it to Kubrick, though, because I do think Being There was somewhat...
Some people consider it to
inspired by Kubrick at times.
Some people actually consider it to be like a lost Kubrick film or a secret Kubrick film. I've heard that before.
I don't know about that. Who was the director?
There's no evidence.
Hal Ashby, was it?
What?
Was it Hal Ashby who directed it? Or?
I believe so. Yeah.
Was he the director of that other one, the Harold and Maude? Or am I getting confused?
Right. I think you're right.
Yeah, these films, but the thing is, the whole 2001 Space Odyssey sort of, but it's actually the space. Yeah, like that is obviously riffing on 2001, but I think the film itself goes beyond that to have this kind of static character who doesn't change throughout the entire film in a way. It's similar to some Kubrick characters.
Yeah.
And Peter Sellers was in 2001.
It's self-referencing almost, yeah, in a way.
So if Kubrick wasn't in some way aware of what was going on with the film and maybe said, maybe do this, the film is very also similar to Kubrick in its style,
so much, yeah, so much so. Yes. So much.
But it's so distanced, but then it slowly just pulls you in to this kind of world of Chauncey or whatever, and he's just I'm a gardener.
I saw that movie. I saw it when I was a teenager, and I didn't understand it. It took me.
No, me neither.
To mature and come back to it.
But it's did we understand Harold and Maude? I mean, I watched that and I was like,
I did. I remember seeing that younger, and to me,
I understood the love story of it because it was about how
Bud Cort was a cool actor, man.
This is about some people that you just have to pull themselves through things to get out of basically a bad stage they're in, and it doesn't matter who helps you on that journey in a way. His friendship, his love with the older lady is genuine, and it is maybe it's laughable to us in some ways, but
he seemed
that's not the intention of the film. Obviously, the film's very sincere.
That's a good interpretation. He seemed like such a lonely kid that didn't matter who it was almost.
Yeah, maybe. I think though that the grandmother figure is almost makes me think of Lynch's early short film, The Grandmother, and
yeah, okay, yeah.
He said, that kind of, it's basically no matter what, that kind of what do you call it? Basically, all seasons love just loves you for what you are. They don't care about what happened yesterday, what happened 10 years ago, or, and that's how it is with Harold and Maude in a way, isn't it? But she's also the cop DM kind of idea.
Well, this whole thing where he's faking these suicides, he's very attention starved. He's just
at the start, that is a little bit disturbing at times, but then also pretty hilarious at certain points because his family are so.
First got up, it was oh, okay.
Yeah. His family's really pretty, definitely wealthy, very wealthy, but he seems to be completely devoid of any love or any appreciation of in a way, he's like an artist, isn't he?
When I see that movie, I think of what Ferris Bueller says about Cameron's house, that it's a museum.
Precisely.
Heaven forbid you touch anything,
Yeah, it's a museum of
right.
This kind of American ideal with the red car and everything. I can't remember whether it's a Corvette or something. I don't know, or Ferrari. But
I think it's Ferrari.
Yeah, and it's just the thing is, if you can't use it, if it's untouchable, but it's still there right in front of you,
right,
preserved, what is the point of this?
What is the point? Yeah,
it sums up this big thing though of
he loves that thing more than my mother.
You want these things, yeah.
yeah.
You want these material possessions. You want to have money and all this kind of thing. But the thing is, then you've got it. What do you do with it? You just put it in a museum. It's just. I mean, I don't think the idea, of course, though, is to steal it, take it into the city, and then it gets stolen by these car thieves. And they're making a spin-off about that. There's a film about
the best parts of the film. So you could make a spin-off.
With them flying over the
that day with the car.
In slow motion over the.
To be honest with you, James, that's kind of a brilliant idea. If you could get those two,
it's brilliant.
If you could get those two actors and de-age them and just make a whole film about where did they take the car that
day. They're not going to de-age them. They're just going to basically use him, and then I don't know. They're going to have throwbacks to Ferris Bueller. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, they've got to get Matthew Broderick in it again somehow, but who knows? No, I don't want everyone de-aged personally. They could do it for.
I'm saying I'd be more interested in seeing where they took the car that day. Like where did
It's
they?
only going to end up being like some kind of TV series or a Netflix film. So de-aging and all that kind of stuff, it's not worth it unless you've got like the time and budget. So, but fair enough, it could happen.
I
mean,
heard some speculation as to like when we see Indiana Jones in that chair in the new trailer that is not, and maybe you mentioned this, that is not de-aged. That's some
no, it's not.
footage from a long time ago.
It's from the original film, I think, or the second one.
Oh,
It's not like, but it is partly de-aged as well because they're doing it in like the most realistic way they can try, like not using the computer to generate the computer features. They're using the features from the original footage, but then obviously they can slightly polish the way Harrison Ford looked and things. So, I think James Mangold, if that's the right name for the director, he knows what he's doing. I think the film could come off being slick.
It's pretty easy to knock this one out of the park if he.
But I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be a good film.
To do that, it'll be his own damn fault.
I think it'll be a good film, but I
think it'll be a good film, maybe a great film until the end. And if they don't fix that end, we're gonna have a damn riot on our hands. You know, like.
Well, I have faith in Harrison Ford and his sort of how he has spoken about the film fondly, because.
Do you think that
he wouldn't do that just for promotion or something?
Do you think that putting James Gunn in charge of DC was a good move? What do you think about that?
Oh, he did the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas one, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I don't follow a lot of this stuff that much, but I would say not really. No, you need to. Like he's okay, but I don't think should be in control of everything. No, that's not at all. And this he should have some new blood in there, and I don't know.
His partner he has pretty silent on the sideline. It seems like James is the one making all the announcements. So, I think it's a big mistake.
He seems to be a popular kind of director, personality, even because of the.
I think that's a misnomer because he got fired from Disney for
I forgot about that.
His tweets. Then it blew over. Disney hires him back, right? But then he comes out with the movie, the Suicide Squad thing, but it's not even in theaters. It's on a home streaming service, HBO Max. So how the hell can you judge?
Well, it was on the cinema here.
Was it?
Yeah, I went to see it, but
I don't.
It's not like the best film ever by any means. It
was okay. It was all right.
It was good, but it felt like a.
But I've heard people say he made such a better Suicide Squad than the original Suicide Squad. And like, dude, the original Suicide Squad was given to a trailer company. Probably the only time in the history of film.
It's not better. It's just different.
That first movie is probably the only time I can name or think of in the history of film that they gave a movie to a trailer park cutting company to cut a movie together. I think it's unique in that aspect. So how the hell can you judge whether the second one is better than the first one when you really haven't even seen the original first vision of the first version, the David Ayer cut or whatever?
What do you mean by trailer company? Oh, you mean I thought it meant trailer park? You said
it's literally called Trailer Park, and they're a company that.
Oh, okay, it's just like a joke. All right, fair enough.
They just do trailers, so.
If they're called Trailer Park, I would say don't go to them. You know,
to say that James Gunn is better than theirs is not like a big thing because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I think it
doesn't make sense. I think the original film, probably the director's cut, is better, right?
We don't know because they never gave it to us.
Right, I didn't know about that, but I think the thing is, I was never a fan of it anyway, particularly because it's just.
They gave us some bullshit.
I didn't like Jared Leto as the Joker. I thought he was just. I mean, I like Jared Leto in some ways, but
that's what I mean, James. There's about it. Like even Jared
It was
Leto.
like self-parody or something.
Even Leto said there's about an hour of my performance that's on the cutting room floor. So I don't, who
Yeah,
even
but like
who
even
knows it
so, it's like
better?
I just didn't like the whole Suicide Squad thing. They changed it to make it like more upbeat, kind of more
That's exactly
jokey
what I'm.
in the Suicide Squad. But then it just comes off as like wacky for the sake of wacky with no tension. And
That's
you're just
exactly
like,
what I'm talking about, James. They like I've
you've got to
seen.
have some tension in that kind of film and some darkness. Otherwise, it's just, but you have to have like at least 50-50. So,
Am I back?
yeah.
I've seen videos where people cut together Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight, and they use all what the Trailer Park Company used, like those kind of cutting techniques, and it makes that performance look like shit too. So how do we know what Jared's original performance is really like if we've never
He's
seen
not bad he's okay in the Justice League.
Yeah,
Zack Snyder version where there's the dream sequence type thing of, semi-dream, whatever it is, with Batman and everybody, and then the Joker suddenly just there sitting on a car or something. It's like
so
that was not bad.
On that too, did you notice that somebody right now on Christmas they're releasing the storyboards as a what do they call that? A cinematic, basically, of what the Snyder cut, what his next two films would be, and they're doing it for charity for suicide prevention. It's called the Justice League Project, I think, or something like that.
Is that film really going to prevent that, or is it going to actually increase it?
Well, people are going to have to pay to see it, so I guess the money is going to the hotline or something. I don't know.
That sounds like really bad kind of face saving after his tweets and things like that.
Perhaps.
But I don't know. It's a good cause, frankly. And
yeah,
there are people who watch these films which have a lot of probably issues, but
some of it's animated, some of it is like still animation.
At the end of the day, I don't think Jared Leto was very good as the Joker. I really have to say that. And
I can't judge it because I've never seen the real thing. This is this company.
You saw him in the Justice League. Zack Snyder
company fucked it up. They cut together. The way they cut it is so fucking. It's just like goofy.
I don't think it's going to salvage it that much.
Goofy colors and it's I disagree. I mean,
that's how he wanted it.
Sure, but I'm pretty sure that there's something so either whacked out and horrible or deep and good in a way, something that the studio doesn't want us to see about that performance, the original performance. I mean, him and Harley Quinn, he like beat on her and he was abusive towards her. None of that's in the film,
That's because it's a mainstream Hollywood release. Surely.
Oh, we're adults, man.
Not people who go and see the Suicide Squad. This is the trouble. Everything is so saccharine now, even though it pretends to be a bit edgy or something. It's like, is Suicide Squad edgy? No, it's just.
It could have been. It could have been.
Precisely, yeah, precisely. It could have been, but. I'm just going to have to go to the kitchen for a minute and stuff. I'll be back in a minute, okay?
All right.
Your camera just kind of went out there again for some reason.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, what I was saying about the film is, Steven Spielberg's at dinner with his family. He's met this rich girl who has a rich father who tells him that he can use the camera for this beach thing. Now, Steven Spielberg's company is called Amblin Entertainment. Everybody knows that. But what they don't know is why it's called that, which actually is referring to like Steven Spielberg's first short film, which is I think it's not. I mean, I see it listed as Amblin, but from my memory, it was called Amblin or something. We have a slight difference of spelling or something like that. and it's like a beach. It's like a beach scene, and this was a huge kind of reference to me in the movie. Now I'm not sure, 100% sure if this beach movie is the same beach movie that is referred to in the film. It seems like he's making that for his school project for like the end of the year, whatever, get together or whatever for the school. And simultaneously, he's shooting a short film war picture. And the war picture kind of, my brother seemed to think that it kind of even was a little bit of a reference towards Saving Private Ryan, stuff like that. But I went to look for it, and I've sent this link to James. I don't know if he's going to allow us to pull it up, but it's only about a 2-minute film, and that's heavily referenced in this Fablemans.
I'll literally be back in a couple of minutes. All right.
All right. And it's listed as coming out in 1961, and the Amblin film is listed as coming out in 1977. But in the film, maybe for narrative purposes, he is putting these two things simultaneously happening at the same time to kind of give the narrative a bit of go back and forth, or a bit of what, not agitation, what do you call that? Conflict, right? So he's like, oh, I want to shoot my war picture, but my father is asking me to make this thing about the camping trips for my mother because she's depressed about her mother dying. And so the father offers to buy him a new camper so that he'll make this film to cheer up the mother. Meanwhile, the rich girl is saying, use my father's very expensive camera that he's dying to use to do the school project. And what's really weird about all this is, okay, so he goes, okay, I got time. I'll make time to do all these things, right? And he goes to this beach party and he films all that, and it gets into like how expensive his hobby is, and his father is kind of always questioning his hobby of like, wow, this isn't very the editing machine is like $300-400. It's a very expensive hobby you have, Steven. Like, are you sure about this? Later on, he even says something like, I should have put my foot down about this years ago, or stuff like that. Kind of discouraging stuff. That's where the mother's eccentricity kind of helps Steven, because she's very, there's parts in the film where she's very encouraging about Steven's habit of filming and stuff like that. So he films this movie, and it comes time where he's going to show it to the class, and he shows it to the class, and there, like I say, there's these bullies in school that have been picking on Steven for being what they say is a kike in the film, so just very disparaging. Then this head bully kind of jock guy has been picking on him the whole movie, but he makes the film, and he makes this jock guy like kind of the main focus of this student body, this film about the student body, right? So he shows it to the class, everybody loves it, everything's cool, but there's like a subtext and underlying all this. So Steven Spielberg is kind of known in the pedo hunter community, and everybody kind of likes to point to this first beach film I'm talking about, which kind of has a secret hidden message in it. When you watch Amblin, it's about a wanderer, like a boy who's kind of getting that Kerouac vibe, where he's traveling, he's kind of a wanderer, and he comes to sit down on a beach, and a beautiful girl comes along and is talking to him, and is kind of flirting with him, and is very sexually interested in him. And he's carrying a case in this film. And when they open this case, they see that he's got like Stranger in a Strange Land is the book in there by Heinlein. And what everybody likes to point to is this milk of magnesia that's featured inside this case that the boy is carrying. So this girl is hitting on him, and you kind of get the impression she's like, why is he not responding to me? Until she looks in his basket or his little, box or whatever that he's carrying, his little case, and she sees the milk of magnesia. Most people don't know what that means, but milk of magnesia is a thing in the gay community that you use to kind of clean out your colon, so that when you're doing that, when you're having a homosexual experience, it's not, stuff's not going to leak out. And not to get too graphic, but that's what milk of magnesia was pretty much famous for back down in the 60s and 70s. So it's implied in his original first film is there's a gay underlying thing going on with the main character of that, and why he's not responding to this beautiful woman who's sexually hitting on him. So this is all kind of represented in The Fabelmans, with his girlfriend being like super beautiful, and he's more interested in using the camera to film stuff that her father has than actually getting with the girl. And when he makes his other film, the student film, see, I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, if it's another film or if the beach is making a student beach film in Fabelmans is a way of referencing that original, because that original beach film, you watch it, it's about 25 minutes long, and you don't think to yourself, wow, this is going to be Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. But the studio heads at the time must have seen something in that movie that they really liked, and my guess is it's the milk and magnesia reference in his case that they thought was so nifty. So in the movie, he finally oh, here's James. Hold on.
Sorry, Ben, for any delay there.
Oh, that's all right.
Just thought I'd show you my videos, because I know you're really impressed by things like this. So.
Oh, yeah, I like
look at that. I mean, come on. This one's a home movie one. This one goes back to the 80s, that I made in the 80s.
Oh, I wish we could watch those.
I'll put up some of that stuff. You should see. It's hilarious.
Yeah, put it up. I'll watch
it. There have been bits and pieces that I put up before, but people don't even know. I don't think they really look at them, because there's no indication of what a lot of it is. But
right. I was just talking about these early, how it shows these early films that Steven made in The Fabelmans. How you got the beach film, the camping trip film, and the war film, and he's got to make time to make all these movies. And he's got this beautiful girl that he's met that the father is allowing him to use the camera for the student film, and these bullies have been picking on him the whole movie.
What girl? Oh, in the film, sorry, right? Okay.
The Fabelmans, right? And these bullies have been picking on him the whole movie, and he makes the student film. And even though this main jock bully's been picking on him for being Jewish, he features him in the movie. And when the movie's over and everybody's clapping and everything, the bully pulls him aside and says, "Wow, why'd you do that?" And he's like, the kid, I think they call him Sammy in the movie, but it's representing Steven. He says, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Oh," and the jock says, "You made me look like a Greek god. Here I am. I've been picking on you the whole school year, and you make me look good like this." And really, I'm saying this is a like a gay reference to Steven's first film, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but his Amblin film, if you watch, it's about 25 minutes. I sent you the link. If you watch that movie, it's all about a young girl who comes along and meets a wanderer guy on a beach, and she's hitting on him the whole time. And she's wondering, like, you get the impression that she's wondering, why isn't this guy responding to my advances? Until you at the end of the film, he walks away and she opens up the case that he's carrying, like his little suitcase or whatever. And in the suitcase is like Stranger in a Strange Land by Heinlein, couple other things, toothbrush, stuff like that. But there's like a milk of magnesia is pretty much featured there, and that was a thing back then.
Bear in mind, I'm not mad into the whole gay subtext.
No, I'm not. I'm not really either. I'm just explaining, what the scuttlebutt is and what this is referencing in the film. So this milk of magnesia was used, back in the day for homosexuals to kind of like clean out their system. So when they're pounding or whatever, you're not leaking out.
Right. You just
not to be too graphic, but that's what it is.
Can we just leave this now? I don't want to talk about this anymore.
This is Stevens for this.
I've only just got up. I don't want to hear about milk of magnesia and people pounding.
Okay, but this is Stevens' first film. And when you don't really get any
Republican convention or something,
you don't really get any explanation. But when the girl sees that milk and magnesia, it's kind of like, oh, this is why the boy is not responding to me. And when you see that first movie, I sent you the link.
How old was she?
The kids are, I think, about 17, 18 years old, something like that.
So you genuinely think that a 17-year-old is aware of milk and magnesium in
absolutely
practices?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've never heard of anything of this before.
My whole point is,
why would she be aware of this if she's not gay?
Bro, I sent you the link. You have go watch this first.
Watch what? What link?
Amblin by Steven Spielberg. His first.
So you want me to watch it now?
Well, you could play it for everybody, or you could watch it when we get off. But this is what this whole movie.
Well, I'll put it on then as a test, because see if this works. So,
I would.
Because this is the channel that's got 4 subscribers right now. So
you'll see what I mean.
So at the end of the day, does it really matter?
What I'm talking about. This is heavily referenced in this movie, because Steven has this beautiful girlfriend. He's more concerned about using the camera and he made that guy, like I said, it's why did you make me look like a Greek god? He's filmed that guy like from, this is all subtext in the movie, and it's referring back to his original first film. And when you watch this first film, you don't think to yourself, oh, this is going to be Steven Spielberg, like the one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, supposedly, right? You wonder what at the studio had.
You've not sent me the link to Amblin. I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh? I sent it to you when we did the show the other day. You can look it up.
If you sent it to me the other day, that's not now, is it?
Okay. Why don't you type?
This is the trouble with you not having a laptop. You see,
why don't you type in YouTube Steven Spielberg's first film, Amblin, and it'll come right.
Well, it's easiest when I get a link and I just click on it. So if we're I've only just got up and stuff, and it's 7 a.m. here, you see. So
I think you got the skills to pull it off, buddy. It will take.
Yeah, but do I want to?
I don't know. Do you?
Not really, no.
When I looked that one up, I noticed that the other film in the movie.
I'm open to watching it at some point, but
yeah, the war film that's referenced in the movie. It's only about 2 minutes. It'll also come up if you look up that film.
Are you talking about Amblin now?
Yeah, Amblin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why is it called Amblin, for instance? Does it mean like rambling?
I think it does. That's what I get.
So you're saying basically that
because the guy is he is
Spielberg effectively gay, but he kind of just decided to go with women instead.
Maybe he's bi and he married to keep up appearances. I don't know. Why is this?
Well, if you're bi, that's not keeping up appearances, is it?
Why? Look, watch the movie and tell me what is this short film about? Why did the studio
watch what movie?
Amblin. That we're talking.
It's not a movie. It's a short film.
It's a short film. Why did the studio head see this? You don't look at it and think, oh, this is going to be.
I'm aware of it, but I don't want to sit watching it at this moment at 7 in the morning.
My thing is like, what did the studio head see in that movie?
You're free to describe
that made them say, you know what, we got to get this guy on the payroll right away.
I don't know. Is milk of magnesium or gaping anuses in Amblin? Amblin.
I mean, you can go all over his filmography and see what I'm talking about. Look at the way E.T. I mean, E.T. looks like a phallus come to life, doesn't he? Kind of. Think about Goonies. Think about
Well,
Goonies.
no, I think his finger does. Yes.
How does Goonies? Well, there you go. The finger, especially. How does
I don't know
Goonies?
about how many penises glow.
How does Goonies start? How does Goonies start? With them knocking a penis off of
Yeah, but Goonies is not a Spielberg film.
Okay, what's the kid's name in that movie? Mouth? Why would you call a kid Mouth? A kid who happens
Yeah,
to come
that
out
is questionable.
A kid who an actor who happened to come out with the movie years later about such and such and so and so. You think about it.
Well, I think that scene in a family film would not happen now, would it? With him breaking the statue and then putting it on back to front so it looks like it's an erect penis. I mean,
that's just very bizarre.
And there's a lot of jokes also about the maid who's like Mexican or something.
Right.
Sort of also sexual comments about her by the children, which are not unusual and actually quite true for that time. But some critics here, for instance, when the Goonies, let's just run this for a minute. When the Goonies came out, they said that the film was basically just 2 hours of kids screaming at each other. And it was like, you can imagine some critics, maybe they were a bit hungover, maybe they were a bit tired, whatever. It is a bit much as a film. But the reality is the film was made for matinees, and it's not 2 hours. It's probably
to me, it's like Indiana Jones for kids. That movie.
But is it though? Is it for kids though? This is the thing.
I mean, think about like Temple of Doom had.
I don't think it is. I think some of the stuff in it is dark.
Yeah.
It starts off with one of the criminals pretending to be hung, then he's not, and he kicks the guy in the head and things like that. They escape. There's a chase across town. It's blatantly making fun of the fat character.
Did you ever see that they actually had like?
They'd never do that now. They'd never do that.
They had 2 monkeys in the film that they got to cut that out.
Yeah, that was.
Oh boy.
There was some kind of circus thing, or they steal a circus?
Something like that
truck, or I don't know. There was another plot basically, and then of course there was the whole octopus scene, which was caught later. But there were bits and pieces in there, and you can see why they might have cut them for time. But it would have been better for it to all be in, to be honest, because the film was really madcap, but it had like that tinge of basically just between childhood and adolescence about it, didn't it? Because there were the younger children in it, and then there were the ones who were already sort of into their teen years. Yep. And Josh Brolin, who was basically like the guy, although he's still young, of course.
He was the
like
man.
Kind of, yeah, like doing the weightlifting at the start, and then Mikey is the one with asthma, isn't he? So he kind of like is trying to bolster his brother a bit, but it's, they're different. And obviously the film is far-fetched, but I do think with the director, Richard Donner, and everything, it's like really...
James.
It's made almost as if it's an adult film, I would say.
Think about what the pirate's name is, right? That the treasure.
Yeah.
The treasure it's looking for is One-Eyed Willie's treasure.
The whole thing of going into these damp, dark caves and like the vaginal orifices, and
we gotta go into the caves to look for One-Eyed Willie, right?
The vagina dentata and all this kind of thing. But it goes right back to something like The Exorcist, and I think even that William Friedkin was a big influence on somebody like Richard Donner. But
I just think that The Fabelmans is very much a coming out movie for Steven.
Well, he's going to come out in his 70s.
I do. He makes a point to show that he was more interested in that guy's physique than the girl he was with. I mean, that girl, he barely pays her any attention. And that is exactly what happens in this first film that I'm talking about. That's the whole premise of the film.
You can see that in his relationships even. I don't know about his relationships, but she was sort of like she was like in the eye of the media for a very short time, wasn't she, really? And then she was with him.
Who's that? You cut out for a minute. Who are you talking
Kate Capshaw.
Yeah, well...
She was like very briefly in the public eye. Like she was in Dreamscape, which is quite a peculiar film, but...
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Good, pretty good. I mean, it's obviously got David Patrick Kelly in it, and it's worth watching. It's not brilliant, but it's pretty good. Arguably. But
Mhm.
Kate Capshaw was like this kind of, I don't know, really. She was obviously an attractive woman and everything, but I think the way she came across on screen and in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was she was sort of a bit like highly strung, and
It just really, like I said, really
some
trips.
people got criticized. Some people criticized the character. But
She was
Spielberg being with her, they were almost like the odd couple, weren't they? Because obviously he's not conventionally like,
when I first saw the movie when I was younger. She was very abrasive. As I've grown up, I now appreciate her character because when I was a kid, nobody told us that the Temple of Doom is actually a prequel to Raiders to the Lost Ark and Crusade.
no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Right? Who the hell knew that?
But I don't think the film's interested in telling you that either. It just starts off. It's a completely different style of film to the first one, anyway.
But if you take the first three films
in various ways,
if you take the first three films and you actually play them in chronological order, including the River Phoenix scene, there is actually a through arc through the whole thing that you barely notice because most people don't realize Temple is.
And even with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I would argue. I think
it could be.
I think Spielberg knew what he was doing with that film. People might argue about different bits and pieces, but I think overall it was a successful film. It might not have been to everyone's taste.
The only problem is the damn swinging with the monkeys, and
it's still a good film though.
Going over that waterfall. If you cut the monkeys in the waterfall,
I didn't mind any of that stuff. It's just
I would actually leave in the nuclear bomb thing because it's a reference to Back to the Future.
You can't just change the entire story. So I think the problems I had with the film are just I
like the alien angle.
I don't know. Well, yeah, you're right. You're like, for instance, if you're going to have aliens at the end of it, basically have a bit of a foregrounding of that. So therefore, cut the monkeys business out and have a cut scene to something else in the jungle that's kind of giving you
anything else. It could be
just establish something to do with the aliens, like somebody looking at a map, like, oh, this is where this could be, that kind of thing. But instead, everything's left so vague, even more vague than most of the Indiana Jones films, I think.
And the fucking waterfall. They don't only go over one waterfall.
Yeah, but that's taking it to the next level, isn't it?
They have to have a second waterfall. Like what?
I think there were 3.
Yeah, some shit. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, but that's the film. The film delights it. Spielberg delights in being
ridiculous.
It's like he was kind of going, okay, I can be as daft as I want with this film because we've got aliens in it.
I could even buy them falling from the plane in Crusade and the thing inflating and going down the snow hill. I could buy all that, but
no, that was Temple of Doom.
Was it? Okay. When they go over,
that's not believable at all, is it? Though, but
I find that more believable than the damn waterfall. I mean,
it doesn't have any CGI. CGI waterfalls are always going to be a bad idea. So.
Marion and Indiana Jones are pretty elderly at that point to be going over that waterfall. I mean, it's just a strange.
Elderly.
It's strange credibility to me. Yeah, Marion was getting up there. I mean, come on.
She was about probably 30-something, 37.
In the Crystal Skull?
Oh, you mean I thought you were talking about in Temple of Doom.
No. I'm talking about Marion.
I think at any age, people would end up with like broken bones, legs flying off. I mean, you know, just look at the new Indiana Jones film.
You know what?
People standing on top of trains, and
you know what, James? That's a good point. All they had to do with that scene maybe is after they fell, maybe one of them broke their arm. It would make it more believable.
Yeah, I knew, but then the film's got to deal with like the arm.
Then fucking deal with it. Whatever.
Being fixed and him having a sling or her having a sling, and it's
just that fucking waterfall. Like
back then, though, they just went hell for leather with these films. So going back to the Goonies, that was my main issue with the film. Like, it took unbelievability to the next level, and it was too hell for leather. But that was Richard Donner. He was just like that. It was like Cocaine City, his film.
Lots of Mandela effects in Goonies.
Yeah, but look at Lethal Weapon, the way it starts and everything. I mean, that starts with someone snorting cocaine. She jumps off the building. And when I saw that, I was like, what? I don't know if I want to watch an action film like this. Like, I was just...
the walls.
because it reminded me of again of the previous Richard Donner film, The Omen. And when I saw that nanny hang herself, I was like, honestly, that freaked me out the first time I saw that. And that's exactly what the film wanted to do. I mean, Richard Donner, good, very, very good director. But
Yeah, I appreciate
I mean, yeah, even Lethal Weapon 2, actually, I would hold that up as a very good action film.
Yeah, it's good.
The first one is superior because it's, if you're going to have one of the characters be suffering from PTSD and, you know, whatever the hell is going on with Murtaugh, yeah, it's like, you've got to do it, as we say, balls to the wall. Like he's genuinely flipped at a switch. You can't have them just constantly turning to each other going, I'm too old for this shit. Yeah, and I'm crazy, and I'm not taking my pills.
Apparently you can. It sells.
Well, of course you can, because they're going to do another one.
Easy shit, you know.
I mean, I hope Gibson does another one, but Mel, but
was awful.
Well,
or no, I'm thinking of Die Hard. God, that was so fucking.
That would be a Lethal Weapon 5. Oh yeah, but I mean, you can't blame Bruce Willis for that. The Live Free or Die Hard. No, Die Hard 4 was tolerable, but not very good.
What
Die Hard 5, absolute shit.
What do you think, James? Combine them. Lethal Weapon 6, the Die Hard saga continues.
No, we're only at Lethal Weapon 5 now. No, don't do that.
All right, it's my turn.
Willis is retired now, so
it's my turn to run to the kitchen real quick.
Okay, fair enough.
Entertain. Maybe you could put that movie up and start watching it.
Oh, for God's sake!
Pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Anyway,
when you've got your ball, you're like a rabid dog with it.
If you do look it up, the war picture that is referenced in The Fabelmans will come up too. It's about 2 minutes. I've never seen that.
All right.
Maybe we can play that. I'll be right back.
I do enjoy doing these videos, don't get me wrong, but when it's 7:15 a.m. and I'm going to have to watch a short film by Steven Spielberg, it's a bit early for me. Amblin. And I am very, very wary now of copyright strikes and just YouTube as a whole, I would say, actually. So there's Amblin Partners. There's actually an official Amblin YouTube channel, apparently. Only 45,000 subscribers. Amblin full film. Right, here we go. It looks terrible quality, so let's just have a look. I think it was shot on 8mm, so maybe this one's better, but they're both exactly the same. Yeah. Just as a side note, if you're interested in Spielberg, this immediately brings to mind Damon Packard's sort of take on Spielberg. Combination of like both fascination and sort of parody of filmmaking, really, in Hollywood. And the craziness of it, I suppose, especially during the 60s and 70s, because it was so creative, I think, particularly during that time, and that's where Spielberg came from. And then, in a way, he adapted to the more streamlined kind of corporate way of making films in the 80s, especially, and then, you know, became a producer with a lot of films. And as I'm sure any viewer will be very well aware, he became, you know, produced by Steven Spielberg. Oh, actually, Steven Spielberg presents to sell a film. And so people would often say, this is a Spielberg film. And you know, Gremlins, Steven Spielberg presents. But it's not. It's a Joe Dante film. So let me just get this on the screen here.
Sorry, my grandpa needed something.
Well, you've just given me a chance anyway. I was just giving a shout out to recommend people another 80s classic here from Aha, Stay on These Roads. And I think what I appreciate about this album is there's a very deep underlying message of staying on the road as opposed to, you know, like driving in a field, off-roading it effectively.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. So, you know, I like how they captured that.
I like Aha.
I do, yeah. I mean, this album probably sold something like 7 million copies or something. But I think if I want to make any point about Aha at this point, it's like this is their third album when they decided, you know, we've got to do something commercial for the studio because our second album was difficult and made America basically reject us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Warner Brothers in America, they just couldn't sell them to America because they were just too like they wanted to make a proper rock album with their second album as such for the time, and they were just too successful everywhere else. So, but there was just something about Aha. I mean, if you listen to one of the first lyrics on this "Stay on These Roads," it's like "Stillborn by choice." That's one of the lyrics. I mean, American execs and people like that might have gone like, okay, or just overlooked it. But even the writer of that song now, Paul in the band, he says, maybe I regret that a bit. You know, we were young, and
that's the problem with our time and age. Movies are afraid to be weird. Our art should be a little weird.
Yeah, but this album cover, I remember seeing this album cover, this poster on a pen pal of my Scottish pen pal who was into Twin Peaks, and I said, "Why have you got an Aha poster on your wall? That is like the most kind of airbrushed pin-up photo of the band." I wasn't making fun of them. I was just saying, and I kind of was just associated them with their early songs, not. And she says, "You'd be surprised, like just how good they are." And
they are good.
You know, they come from Norway. I think they, like another lyric from the second album was like, I dream of houses burning with nothing else to do," and this kind of thing. And like, we live in scoundrel days. It's like these lyrics are like, what? You're dreaming of houses burning and stuff, you know. And with death comes the morning as well. That was another lyric. And that actually references the writer, Thomas Wolfe, I believe.
It did for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's to do with, you know, like as a band for and everything, their first tour was absolutely massive, world tour. Like they got to #1 in America and stuff. No doubt, I'm sure they all made their millions off the first album, but touring at that rate, going around you go to bed on the tour bus or wherever they go. I mean, I'm sure they had decent hotels and stuff, but they were doing it fast. I mean, they were young, very young, pretty much, and just like not that young though, not a boy band. And you hit the bed, next thing, get up. You know, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., you've got to go to the next place, and it's like, you know, I'm not like Voltaire, like saying, "Oh, well, they have a great life." Like any actor, it's really easy. Like it's not. It's not easy being an actor. It's not easy being a pop star. Why do you think so many of them just drop off? And
yeah, when I read Kurt Cobain's biography or whatever,
you just feel so sorry for him in many ways. Really,
he talked about how shitty it was to tour around.
Some people are just not made for it. It's just. I mean, he was 27 and, you know, he's no longer with us and everything, but he was just put through the mill too much. Somebody like that.
You know, speaking of him, what do you think about that film Last Days?
I haven't seen it. I'm not.
The Gus Van Sant thing? You never saw that?
No, I always found the whole thing with Kurt Cobain actually just made me feel sad. And then I just sort of like avoided really anything to do with Nirvana and stuff like that. I did watch Courtney and Kurt, I think, and that gave me a really bad impression of her, to be honest. So
you should check out the Van Sant thing.
I think he should never have got involved with her, frankly.
He was stubborn about that, you know. He
Well, he
just,
would because they're both drug addicts.
but everybody, even a lot of the bandmates, everybody, his friends, they told him like, dude, she's no good, and he just was like,
No, I'm all right. Videos of him high on cocaine, on heroin. You know, what I mean, it's just
what?
somebody could have said this guy's 37 to me, and I would have gone, okay.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I mean, he looked. I'm not into like conspiracy theories about hair, for instance.
Wow.
I don't think anything like that particularly, but I do think that
It's
she was
pretty
completely
fucking-
irresponsible. So.
You've seen Kurt and Courtney. It's pretty weird that that guy that they talked to from that shitty metal band, that death
No, you
metal.
mean the one who came
he ends up dying like 3 weeks after he did that interview. So
yeah, that's a little bit of a
pretty
coincidence.
bizarre. Yeah.
I don't think doing that interview is going to make him so
I don't know, James.
disposed or something that he ends up overdosing or whatever happened. I mean, what did happen? I can't remember. But the trouble is the scene is so obscured by drugs and things. It's hard to know really what's going on. But
what the problem I have with it is the guy said he would tell him more if he would just buy him a case of beer, and the goddamn interviewer, I forget his name. He just he's a pretty famous interviewer from your neck of the woods. He just
Nick Broomfield, yeah,
he just kind of gives up and doesn't buy him that case of beer. I would have bought him that case of beer. I want to know the details, damn it. And he said he was going to tell him.
Yeah, I know, but then you got to bear in mind that documentary is like early 2000s. So
yeah,
it was sort of too probably a bit trepidatious, like let's just tread carefully, you know. But I can't speak for Nick Broomfield. I think it was a little bit like too. The thing with Courtney Love and everything that, like, for instance, to be relevant to this, like, show and everything, like, with there's a mound of dirt found next to Kurt's body with the note that he left in it at the top. A mound of dirt. I mean, he found, he lived in Twin Peaks country pretty much.
Boy, yeah. You know what? Now that you say that, actually, in the Come As You Are, the biography, it does mention that they ask him at one point, what kind of shows do you watch?
Yeah,
because Kurt was actually known for being a TV addict.
He liked Twin Peaks.
A person
he said where I grew up was like Twin Peaks, but not exciting.
Well, they said he was a TV addict. He would watch.
Yeah, he loved Twin Peaks apparently
all day. And he mentioned Twin Peaks and Ren and Stimpy as his favorite shows. So yeah, to find it,
he was like a
that nerd is pretty damn weird when you think about it.
He was basically like what they call like a sweetheart, like a nice guy, essentially.
That's what the problem was with Courtney.
Yeah, she used him because
like she
didn't have the same kind of vivid talent that he had. I'm not saying that she had no talent, but I think that
not at all, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I actually find her comical, but I think like the songs, like for instance, "When I Wake Up in My Makeup," it's like Billy Corgan's taking the piss here. Like, this is just.
Well, a lot of us Nirvana fans, actually, when you look at like the Foo Fighters' first and second record and Courtney Love's first record.
Yeah.
Half of the songs on those records sound like Kurt songs. And for years and years, they said, no, Dave Grohl and Courtney Love said, no, these are my songs. They're not Kurt songs. Then years later, when we get YouTube and the internet and everything.
They may have been inspired a lot. I think that's the thing.
There's actual demos that came out years later that showed that he was actually working on those songs with them, and they sat there and lied about it after he was dead. So
that was probably
to me, the longer
that was probably because of lawyers and things like that, I imagine.
The longer he was deceased, the shittier those bands got and more material that they just ran.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the thing that people sometimes look over with Kurt Cobain is his melodic and songwriting ability. Like, the songs are actually singable, like singing Our Pretty Song and all that kind of thing. But the actual meaning of them or the lyric or content, etc., was often just, very daring and everything. Whereas when I wake up in my makeup, twisted, like Courtney Love, you're not waking up in your makeup. You're living in $1 million mansion bought on the funds of Nirvana. You're basically now having implants so you can just flipping do a crap bit of acting in Man on the Moon, and
they even said that Kurt drove like a secondhand Ford Taurus, and she wanted a Lexus, and he had a big problem when she bought the Lexus. It was a big thing between them, and
I think she's just a manipulative person, and I think the things though that happened around his death for her reflect very badly on her, and she knows that, and you can see it on her now. Even like they left the body there, somebody had checked in, and they knew that his body was lying there dead. I don't know. There was no way he could have shot himself at that angle, even.
Right.
I don't know what the hell happened. I don't think Courtney Love went in there and started, but I think somebody definitely did something whilst he was out of it.
I don't know.
I mean, people can be out of it. Somebody could drink 5 pints of lager and pass out, right? Or like be lying on the floor. But he could inveigle a way that would make it look like they'd shot themselves. So people are like, "Oh my God, how could this happen if someone's on heroin?" Like,
well, no, but you know what it is, James? As a person who was on heroin and dealt with a lot of people on heroin.
Well, I've not been on heroin, but I'm just saying,
The thing about it is, right now, what they say about the level of amount of heroin that was in him, what Cyril Wecht, the guy who did the autopsy, what he says, same guy from the JFK autopsy or all these famous autopsies, they get the same autopsy guy. He said that the levels were so high that he's literally, if he was able to pick up the gun and shoot himself, it's the first time in known human history that anyone's been able to function with this amount of heroin in their bloodstream per liter, and which is it. I mean, don't tell me, you can't tell me that the
whole thing's just
this is a once in a lifetime suicide. That this is.
Yeah, but even the place where it was found is just like, it seems so staged. Like the loft part of this garage, kind of.
Well, I take it that was a place. There was some contention about that because.
I'm not saying he was taken up there or anything like that.
Well, some people say that was a place for him to be alone where he could get away from Courtney. But then I've heard other testimonies that say
she left him at that point.
That loft was filled up with that it was just a storage place that was filled up. And only a couple weeks before that happened did all the shit get cleared out of there. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's
flipping stories.
I'm just saying the whole thing of it just seems a bit like questionable. In terms of the setting for it, and then the fact that this then happens, it just seems too far-fetched. Like, where did the rifle come from exactly, and all this kind of thing? I know this has all been covered, but I can't remember specifically. It doesn't all add up, though, does it?
Oh, hell no.
Kurt was not into guns. Yes, there was a photo of him pointing a gun at his head, I think, actually, which of course was used.
Yeah, that was on a record.
That was an empty gun, I mean.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, he wrote a song called Verse, Chorus, Verse, and then he renamed it I Hate Myself and Want to Die. But then it's claimed that was sarcastic, that he was being sarcastic. But it's like, well, if you're so sarcastic, how come as you are, you're talking about that? He's talking about the gun in the song, for Christ's sake. If you think about that song.
I think he was definitely.
No, I don't have a gun. That's a lyric. I mean, that is.
No, I definitely think he had suicidal ideation and definitely a depressive out on things.
It's just so strange for that to be like a lyric on his first record, and then.
But I think he was someone who could have gotten help and all that kind of thing, but instead, he didn't. So that's what happened.
Mm.
And never mind anything else, which is possible, Other, people involved in drugs or so forth.
Have you seen the movie where the guy who just played Grandpa Munster, you know that actor? He plays the investigator, and it's all about Courtney. It's a newer one. I forget what it's called. Maybe I'll look it up here. I forget what it's called.
What, Fred Gwynn, you mean?
No, he was in this guy I'm thinking of. He was in Lost. He played
No,
Art.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, you never watched Lost, bro?
No.
You're missing out, James.
I know, but I willfully miss out.
Oh man, bro, is that an awesome series? Let me tell you, it is like
It's too American for me. I prefer basically stuff that's shorter.
American. They're all from different places on the island, bro.
Yeah, but it's an American production.
Yeah, but it's so quality, bro. It's just you really got it. After the first season is kind of like
okay.
Hey, they landed on the island, blah 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 blah. The first season, but after
don't start telling me what to watch. I'm not interested in Lost. Thank you.
It's a suggestion, bro.
Okay, know, but we're not changing this into let's rewatch shows that were on 20 years ago.
I recommend you see Last Days too. It's got the magician Ricky Jay in it, and he plays the investigator in that one. And then there's the other movie.
I'd rather us talk about new things coming out. Are you excited about Matilda coming to Netflix?
No.
What do you mean you're not excited?
I don't like that movie.
Well, it's a new one.
A reboot of Matilda?
Yeah, it's a musical version.
Get the fuck out of here. No thanks.
Why?
What? Dude, I just recommended a Gus Van Sant film and another film.
I don't care about an old Gus Van Sant film about Kurt Cobain.
I'm recommending to you one of the best series of all time, Lost, and you're asking me why I don't want to watch Matilda?
Yeah.
It's not my bag, bro.
I know, but it probably will be in about 5 years' time.
Not my cup of tea. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yep. I think, once you get you talk about getting older and stuff, sometimes you appreciate things that are more like kind of almost childlike, sometimes.
Well, that's the problem I had with Wednesday. It was a little bit too much like that.
Yeah, but that's not childlike, though, is it?
It was to me.
Not really, though. It's not a description that I think is valid. It's more like a kind of... It's aimed at the teen audience, and it's trying to be a bit dark and everything, but in reality, it's more of a just quirky thing.
I've seen a stupid-ass article criticizing her dancing. She was actually... that was one of the best parts of it, because she was actually doing, the moves from the original Wednesday character back... The original character in the original series danced like that, and people were criticizing her for that. I thought that was one.
I suppose I'm just asking for any things that you might be watching over Christmas or
James
new stuff.
Yeah, I watched that. I sent you that film.
Because obviously the Fabelmans does sound interesting, but
My Dinner with Andre.
I don't think everybody's. In terms of this not my cup of tea business, I'm not even sure if Voltaire will watch The Fabelmans. Because he actually said to me recently, Money Train is one of the films of the year. And I actually replied, are you joking now?
Yeah, no, he did say he thinks it looks boring.
What does?
Fabelmans.
Yeah, but this boring stuff, people say whatever's boring you means
best
you're boring.
Best Spielberg film in 10 or more years, I would say. Maybe longer, 15 years.
I appreciate other people have. I think nowadays what people will have is a very short attention span sometimes, especially with films. And they are so busy in day-to-day life that they want something which they can kind of just... But what I don't understand is then you go to the cinema and things are 2 hours, 40 minutes. Oh my God, I didn't realize I had just me on the camera. Sorry. You're now muted still. So.
Well,
Yeah, I think people like, I mean, Voltaire's obviously busy a lot of the time, and so he wants something which is digestible. For him, something like The Fablemans, though, it's like he's not invested enough in Spielberg,
Spielberg,
perhaps.
you do kind of have to be a big Spielberg fan to kind of fully appreciate it.
Well, in our next show, hopefully, we can watch Amblin.
You'll definitely see what I'm talking about. I think there is a context to The Fablemans that is a bit of a coming out for Steven.
Well, we'll talk about it when we're actually watching it. But
it'll be
have you spoken with Voltaire much recently, or Johnny?
No, not real. Johnny just is calling me like right this second. That's why my camera is dipping out.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, answer him. If he,
I can't answer the phone when I'm on with you. Otherwise, my camera will dip out. Everything will glitch. Oh, you got a ring light? You know those have kind of like spy equipment built into them. They're smart. So and so that they the Internet of Things, they communicate with the other internet.
Well, mine's just plugged into the wall.
I know that, but inside that bottom of the box there is actually a chip that communicates with other chips in your house. Whatever is smart, whatever it's called, the Internet of Things. You can look it up. It's part of it. You ever heard of that Internet of Things? Have you ever heard that?
Just concentrate on living in reality for a moment.
Have you ever heard that term? Because it is reality. Go ahead and look it up. You'll find all kind of articles about it, bro.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not true, some things you're saying, but I find it incredibly unlikely considering the one I've got is a bargain basement one. So maybe the ones that are sold by Apple, there might be some truth to all this. But are you saying it's got a mic and a camera in there?
It's got a chip that can listen and then communicate with other chips in the house. These days, even in a lot of like Gillette razors, they're putting chips in those. Even your little handle for your Gillette razor. So it's just really weird. Like, why do we need these things in our day-to-day objects? Why would they put a chip in there? Like, I mean, come on.
In razors?
Yeah.
What?
The whole idea too is like, let's say they wanted to let's say there was a hostage situation in your house, right? Just hypothetically, and the FBI or whoever responded to your house and they wanted to see where all the hostages are. They could tap into this Internet of Things, which would be like your Gillette razor, maybe your washer, your dishes dishwasher, and communicating with the ring light, and all of those communicate together. And from outside your building, if it was a hostage situation, they can communicate with those things and map out where everybody is in the house and see that, like in a van outside your house. It's just like, why? It's called the Internet of Things. Anybody who doesn't believe me, do a little research. You'll figure it out pretty quick. It's all over. That's what's weird about the news, James. This stuff is all over the news, but if people don't pay attention, it just goes by and then they just forget about it. You know, it's reported on and then, you know, in one ear and out the other, I guess. It's still.
I don't think most people even take that kind of stuff in, to be honest.
No.
I'm just putting a link in the chat right now because obviously Johnny's contacting you.
Yeah, why don't you just link him up?
I have done.
Okay.
Because I'm just getting, like, if we've got a coffee time chat and everything, like, it's not for people to just, like, kind of do their own show just after I've done mine, you know, this kind of thing. On Christmas Eve.
I'm not doing anything, bro. I'm just chilling.
You are. You're playing around.
What?
I mean, if you're doing a show with me now, you can't immediately hop on to another one straight afterwards. Because it's effectively like kind of diluting everything. It's like we're not working together. We're all going behind each other's backs.
I kind of agree with you there. Yeah.
And I mean, my channel has got dwindling viewers. I mean, do we want to make it dwindle even more by everyone just going off in different directions?
No. And I talked to Johnny about this. I don't think we do. I think we should be concentrating.
Well, I think there needs to be. I don't think it's conscious on anyone's part. There's particularly much of a kind of a like, oh, I hate James type of thing. I mean, maybe some people do find me annoying. That's fine. I annoy myself, frankly.
He's probably calling me to do a watch along if I know him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I just think, why don't he just be? I just like people to be direct. And if they're going to be like that, for me, I just find it like a waste of time. No, it's not passive aggressive. It's just
aggressive.
It doesn't really help matters. And, you know, once I've been really called out by someone and they clearly have a problem with me, then, and I let them back on and stuff, and they're just like, oh, okay, everything's fine now.
All I heard
was trust me, it's not fine.
All I heard was one of you guys said something about the other one's mom or something. I don't know. I'm not personally involved.
It's not that. It's just the way in which it was done. Yes, it is passive aggressive.
There you go. Yeah, I think so.
Particularly at this time of the year. But Johnny's gone offline now, so yeah, this is how it's going to be. I mean,
well, that is passive aggressive.
It's kind of like basically like, I've got my own channel. I want to use your people for that channel, but then I won't even come onto your shows and won't be on camera. What?
That's how you feel about it?
No, not really. I feel it would all be fine if that person was direct with me.
God damn it.
And just treating me like kind of like we're both adults. Because I don't do all of this just for the fun. I mean, it's kind of like partly I just want to do it, you know, and yes, there is a big factor of enjoyment. It doesn't become enjoyable when people are just sort of like, I don't know. I can't describe it. I don't want to call anyone out on anything, basically, but there is a point where some people, I do think they'd be better off doing other things, honestly.
Look, man, I'll tell you this, though. I'm just sitting here bored. If you're going to sign off with me and he wants to hang out, it's not like I'm going to be like, no, I can't hang out. But I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, for instance, if Johnny just wants to come on for 5 minutes and then invite you onto his thing, that would actually help him. Right?
I guess.
Because then the people who are watching my channel would gravitate to his. But instead, he seems to want to be in like a vacuum a bit. And I don't understand how that can be if you're basically, your only people on the video are people from this channel.
Why don't you, did you send him to StreamYard? Say, dude,
I did. I just gave him a ring and he's gone off. He's just disappeared.
What the hell?
This has happened for a long time. Like, Johnny was all over my channel for a long time and then he just stopped.
Yeah.
I understand, yes, behind the scenes and everything. There's been other things that he's been bothered by, and I have absolute sympathy for him. But that's a separate thing to this, surely.
Like I say, I do think if we all put our minds together and we actually buckled down and made
precisely at this kind of time of year as well.
If we made the movie, the documentary type movie I'm talking about with the,
you can't just keep buying Blu-rays because now you must have like about 5,000 Blu-rays for God's sake.
I think if we made that film I'm talking about with the Twin Peaks books, it would help boost.
I think I totally have nothing. I don't have any problems with Johnny after. Is that an actual guitar now or something? And I want everyone to get on, like you and Voltaire doing shows with Johnny and everything. That's fine. I don't have any issues whatsoever. It's just a communication thing, isn't it?
What we lack here.
Like people have said to me that I'm too blunt or something on here and everything, but
I don't think so.
Do you think I go online and I say, "All right, I'm going to be like blunt today" or something? Like, if you think I'm blunt,
No.
you should get on a bus like here and go to Derby. Or like, there's people there. The way they speak to you, you feel like they want to smash your head into the bus window. I mean, I've been on a bus. I opened the window for a minute. This man goes poof with it. Just take off your coat. I'm like, fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
Like, what do you want to happen? Like, I mean, we'll start brawling on the bus, rumble in the Bronx. It's just...
Well, I noticed a lot of people, like, because of the lockdowns in the last couple of years. I mean, people are like on edge. Some of them could barely stand to sit in the room with another person.
I know. I absolutely sympathize with them because I'm not really like into. I'm not very. I don't know. I don't like being around, like, say, in a cramped situation, to say the least. Mm-hmm. If you ever get on a bus here, and it's something that I've unfortunately been in more recently because of changes in the travel circumstances, and like, yeah, it's just, I don't want to be around loads of people like clambering all over me and like bloody breathing all over me. And then, oh, sorry, you can't open the window because you've got a coat on. Oh, sorry, right. Like.
I think you, me, Voltaire, like Johnny, Josh, we all have like a vacation where we trip on acid and air out all our, grievances.
Oh, Johnny says he's going to be 5 minutes actually, so he'll come off.
Oh, right.
I think we're all one issue actually, which has really come to light for me recently is I've noticed like we had this very brief, well, not brief actually, it was over a couple of weeks cold spell, and it hit me like being hit by a shovel. Honestly, after a while, after a while, I was like, I grew literally bitter. I could feel like the cold. And it takes a while to recover. And then it suddenly went really warm. And yeah, it's just like, this is the kind of climate situation we're dealing with now. I don't want to get into some debate about that because the reality is nobody knows.
Please, let's not, because this is...
And anyway, we had pipes bursting here, all sorts of shit happening, roads blocked off. I mean, basically, we need everything. All our infrastructure needs updating, all these kind of things, but it never happens overnight.
Yeah, everybody,
when they get down to it, they can do it, though. So don't despair, everybody. Don't think that the world is going to end. It's not going to end, okay?
I don't think
just
when
you go into the town here, you go into the city, there's people lying in just so many of these empty shops. I mean, the doorways, sleeping at night and stuff. And mostly the nights here are mild enough that people can sleep there, but it's like, it is so depressing. The idea of like with Gary saying I'm going out, last minute Christmas shopping and all this, it's like, for me, it's just total anathema. I can barely face going in shops and stuff. You know what I mean, you've heard about my adventures. Generally, I am pleasant to people, but I can sometimes say too much. And I've had an older lady on a bus tell me, "Watch your mouth." And at that point, I was like,
when you know a blizzard's coming, everybody should, have your faucets drip just a little bit so they don't freeze. First of all,
well, the problem I've got is the radiators here. Like, if you actually look at this, I'll just show you the image of this for some fascinating viewing here for people. Like down the side of the. See that? There's two. Some of it's got paint on it and stuff. I need to sort this all out, really. But old radiator. There's two pipes just going down the wall here.
Do you have a lady in there that dances around and like steps on fetuses?
Well, as Voltaire says, I wish. But I think the thing is, yeah. You see these boxes I've got here over here?
Mm-hmm.
But these are the exact same boxes that Stanley Kubrick had made for himself.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah. I think my question now is actually organising.
That's weird.
My mum said, "What are you going to put in them?" And I said, a bunch of shit. And she says, well, get on with that then, putting your bunch of shit together. It's just...
Where did you learn about Kubrick's with the box?
No, there's a film called Kubrick's Boxers. These
Really?
are not really expensive or anything. Obviously, I wouldn't buy them if they're expensive. It's just... They're really good, though. They're like really well made.
I'm gonna watch that.
Cardboard boxes. And he had like hundreds of these, if not thousands. And he filled like an entire
yeah, it's one of the things I always think
warehouse type with them. And
I wish we could have seen his
it's like, if you think you're crazy, anyone, just think about Kubrick. Like Harvey Keitel, apparently, on Eyes Wide Shut, he was just like, I'm done. Like 96 takes. I'm not walking through that door again, Stanley. I love you and everything, but
really makes you wonder, like, what was he specifically looking for in those 96 takes? You know,
I don't know. I think the thing with Kubrick is that he genuinely had an obsessive compulsive issue, because my dad is like that, you see, and
why he seems like he might be waiting for a happy accident, like Orson Welles.
Yeah, definitely.
And David Lynch talking.
My dad was like basically waiting for some shopping to come, and I says, "Why is the back gate wide open, which is swollen, so you can't close it and everything? It's all a bit awkward." But and he says, "For the shopping," and I thought, "Oh, it's coming in about maybe the next hour at the most," and it was coming in 2 hours.
I wish we could have seen Kubrick's Napoleon film. That's what he used most.
Have you ever watched Barry Lyndon? Because I've never even watched it.
I rewatched it just a couple of days ago, to be honest with you.
That's one I should watch alongside of. The Other Side of the Wind sounds absolutely bizarre.
Look, with Barry Lyndon, it definitely fits into all those later films. You know, after Killer's Kiss and the Killer films.
The Killing.
Everything, and The Killing. Everything after that.
Well, his early films were more like conventional, and then I think like the more successful Kubrick became, the more his tendencies were like evident, you know.
When you watch Barry Lyndon, be aware of how it is showing the elite sponsoring a poorer person into high society, and how that relates to.
That's actually, I mean, that makes me immediately think of The Elephant Man, even, because, you know, with John Merrick, he was essentially that, the elite, or the
right.
And then in the end, it was like, it became both a beautiful thing, but also a misery for everyone concerned in a way, including John, because if you can't even lie down to sleep, it doesn't really make any difference how many operas you might see or how sophisticated your company you keep and everything. It's like, I think with Lynch, a lot of his work is about connection between people. And
those elites just wanted, you know, because he was an oddity, and they just he was a novelty to them.
That's probably one of Lynch's most moving films, probably. Arguably. I mean, in a more conventional sense, but I think Lynch's films, like the writer Martha Nockinson, Lynch's films are about connection between people and like the real possibility of it. It's like with Sailor and Lula, like they're in this kind of whole crazy world, and yet they have this like deep respect and connection in some weird way, don't they?
They being Lula?
What? Sailor and Lula.
Oh, Sailor and Lula.
I don't know if I said David. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Wild Eye is not one of my Lynch favorites at all. It is Cameron. But
see, that's something. If I was a streaming service, like there's a couple things that I think that streaming services are crazy not to do. Maybe 4 things right now with the streaming wars going on. First of all, they should all be like, what's the word? They should be
immediately like you get a free download.
No, they should be
I would agree with that. If it did, everything should be just an
not
immediate
not no
download for people. So,
when people negotiate, what's that? What am I thinking of? They should be doing
oh,
that.
you mean like a?
They each should be offering David Lynch a bigger sum of money, and it should be like a competition between the streaming services to get this guy to do a show. Like they should.
Oh, you mean if people are actually watching his stuff, which they probably are a lot, I imagine.
Do you know how rabid the fan base is? I mean, it would
Exactly.
be
Like I don't like with Cameron. He says like that Twin Peaks is a niche of a niche, or 80%. I completely argue against this. This is not true at all. Like
it's the
here
most
in a second-hand kind of Blu-ray shop here called, anyway, it doesn't matter what it's called. Like they had the Twin Peaks, the complete television series and everything, and people are still buying it. It's
the most popular occult type show that's
that can be watched by the general viewer as well, though.
Yeah,
because some people, they don't care about that. They just think it's about this amazing town that they all want to live in. Really, even in The Return, it's still kind of like has this appeal. Let's face it.
Less so.
Well, I don't know.
With the private prison down the street.
Yeah, but that's not even featured, is it? That's in the book. So
I think feel it. No, but you feel it in the Return too. The way.
Well, you could say that, but I think that if I was on the back of Wally Brando's bike, cruising through the village, I mean, that sounds like really gay now, but I'm not.
Well, he's
I'll tell you, like for instance, a band popular in the gay community, Aha, and I absolutely love Aha. So this does not mean that I'm immediately a gay person.
It all came back around to Aha.
Yes, I think that. Well, yeah, but there's many bands that a lot of 80s music is popular with that kind of. Yeah, but I think for me, I hate to even box anything in like that. It's just so it comes back into the boxes. I don't think like there's a certain music that is appealing to gay people. Like there could be a bunch of gay dudes who are into like Metallica. So it's just
okay. So yeah.
James Hetfield would probably not like that though. So.
For me, in my original world, he was Hatfield, like a hat that you wear. But yeah, Hatfield here. Yeah, that's always creeps me out.
Metallica, one of the most subtle bands known to man.
You just said that was
stunning, cunning stunts.
Cunning stunts?
No, they had a documentary. My friend had it, and I was like, we were like younger and everything. I said, cunning stunts.
Cheeky.
Funny.
Okay, so besides fighting over David Lynch, these streaming services should be buying the rights to Kurt Vonnegut. All his novels are one big connected universe. That could be a show, right?
Oh, you mean like that, the High Castle thing and all that?
No, that's
is that Heinlein or
not Heinlein? That's the other guy.
Anyway, sci-fi is a massive thing now. I know in many ways.
Vonnegut and Palahniuk. Okay, so Vonnegut would be like Breakfast of Champions, Cat's Cradle, things like this. God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. They all connect the worlds. Palahniuk, like Fight Club, he has so many other books. Those could be a series. They should be buying those. That should be 2 series.
That could be something to do because of the success of Fight Club, which seems to be almost constantly successful. But I've noticed recently it seems to have had a bit of a resurgence, possibly due to Netflix or something. I don't know.
I think I brought this up before, but there's actually 2 sequels to Fight Club that they're like graphic novels, but they're written by the same author.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Official stuff.
Do they feature Tyler Durden in them?
That could be a show. Yeah. Yeah. Tyler's in there.
It would seem, I mean, so what happened? Did he like actually shoot himself, or was that a fever dream or what? I mean,
that was
at the end of the
mental hospital, bro. That was the mental hospital. Yeah.
He wasn't in a mental hospital for the entirety of Fight Club, though, was it?
No, but like the way the original book ends, he wakes up in a hospital, and he's not sure if he's dead or not. Right? Like
the way it was wraparound in the film,
it ended up being
suggested something like not quite.
He was in the hospital lying to himself again.
Didn't make sense at that point. Yeah.
Like he didn't want to face the situation, so he was just in the hospital telling himself that these doctors are angels, and that he's in heaven, and they're taking care of him in heaven. That's what he would tell himself.
It went a bit almost like that.
He ends up becoming like a pillhead when he gets back out into society.
It's just a bit like the sort of.
He can't get it up without taking his.
Have you ever heard of Girlfriend in a Coma by Douglas Copeland?
Copeland?
Copeland, yeah.
It's
named after the song by the Smiths. But
okay, no.
Like with Morrissey and stuff, people debate that. For instance, they say it's not actually a song about someone who's got his girlfriend literally in a coma. It's to do with the idea of. I mean, especially with Morrissey, bearing in mind, the sexual idea of things and everything. Like, my girlfriend's in a coma. She's not like, there's no interest there between me and her. It's just.
I could see that, but it's also kind of like saying that
it's like that Billy Liar kind of thing.
That every day is like not really like Sunday. It's kind of like saying that, but I could see that a little bit,
Yeah, but I think this. With Morrissey, he's not actually. I think he's potentially bisexual.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and he, even in that kind of the creation of the sort of.
I love Morrissey.
Everybody's like Sunday business. Then it's like there's nothing here to kind of keep me here in terms of like a relationship or closeness to people, any kind of even romantic attention or love. So it's like, the whole town is just, it's the joke of the decaying seaside town in this country, which is, I mean, I think Morrissey's really talented for sure. And
it paints a picture of that for sure. Like pretty.
Even recent songs like "Spent the Day in Bed" I thought is excellent actually, but it's.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's just about like take care of yourself. Who else would kind of take care of you? And this kind of idea of, I suppose it's self-sufficiency, but there's obviously at the end of the day, it's like you don't really want to be in that situation, do you? Just
right,
like taking care of only yourself. So it's sort of got an irony to it. The idea of spent the day in bed. I'm very happy about that. In sheets that I paid for and stuff like this. Like, great. You paid for the sheets, really, and
I could relate.
I mean, yeah, and the song says stuff like no more bus, no more car, no more whatever, and no more boss, no more bus, no more something, no more emasculation, no more castration. Castration.
More see that cheeky bugger.
I know. Anyway, I don't know if Johnny's coming on because he says he's shoveling the snow. So I think.
Okay, so besides,
we could either wait for him or we can finish. I don't know.
Besides the Lynch, what's the word when you like try to get when teams try to get basketball players like shit like that? You're I can't think of the word. You know what I'm talking about, James?
I'm not a sport person. I'm not so.
Not an auction, but when you're trying to like acquire somebody like that, like if all the networks fought over David Lynch, they would be something his contract. The word is like escaping me. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Probably not. All right. So anyway,
scalping.
No, you're.
No, I don't know really. I think
I really can't think. I
understand the general meaning though, in the sense of
if they all had a bidding war. There we go. A bidding war for David Lynch. They should be having their bidding war for David Lynch. They should make Palahniuk into a series.
Can you actually message Johnny now, please? Because he
Make-
said he'd come on in
make-
5 minutes, and now it's been like 15 minutes or something.
I can't because I have to go off to do that. Make that Vonnegut series. But like you brought up Sailor and Lula, take those Barry Gifford books and hire Nicolas Cage and Laura
It's
Dern
been 20 minutes, actually.
and make the Barry Gifford Sailor and Lula older stories a series with Laura and Nick. That'd be awesome. Don't you think? I would dig it. I mean, it doesn't have to be Lynch. You know, it could be somebody else. What do you think? Have you read those Barry Gifford books?
No, I was ringing Johnny.
James. Have you read the other Sailor and Lula books?
No,
I've read one of them. I thought there was only.
I don't really have an interest in
I
it.
thought there was a. Okay, so I always remember there being like a Perdita book and an older.
I apologize for that.
But there seems to be more now. I don't know. There's multiple other stories. They have a kid. They're like way older. This could be a series. You should. I would recommend you get those books, James. They're good.
Like, but I don't really enjoy Wild at Heart the film, so why would I get the books?
You're not interested because Barry Gifford, worked on West Highway and all this.
I know I'm not mad keen on anything Gifford did with Lynch. I'll say that, but I think that Lost Highway is better than Wild at Heart for me. But it's a kind of a ridiculous comparison anyway. Both films are really good in their own way. I really enjoyed actually the first part of Hotel Room.
I
Gifford's-
love Hotel Room, man. Hotel Room,
Not
rock.
Blackout. I mean, a Blackout is a bit more for me straightforward. That first part is just so
Lake
usual.
Osage. Lake Osage. I love how she said that. It's so haunting.
Pardon?
She said, don't you remember when we used to go to Lake Osage?
Are you referring to Elisha Witt now?
Yeah.
But I didn't. I
Let's
thought
get
that the point I just said is I like the first part most, not that part.
So have you ever heard that the first part might have been an hour long and it got cut down?
Well, it was still about 40 minutes, I think.
About 35, maybe.
It was very.
I've heard there's a longer version.
Very good.
I don't know if these are bullshit lies. Somebody try it.
It's not. I think it's true. I think it's very true because they made it into a 3-part thing, and then the second part has like Griffin Dunne in. It's not directed by Lynch.
About that second part, but it would be awesome to have a cut of.
It's fine. It fits in because the Lynch parts are Lynch, and then it's good to have something a bit different. But
I wish they'd remaster that thing.
I know it's terrible, really. So
terrible. Bro.
Anyway, I don't think Johnny's going to come on because he says it's blizzard there and stuff, and it's the middle of the night for him, so there's no point waiting around for that.
All right.
Because he said he was going to come on 5 minutes ago. It's now 20 minutes, so all a bit strange.
Well, if I knew your address, I could give you the gift of some Gifford books. I think you would enjoy it.
You mean you could post me Gifford books?
That's right.
Well, I mean, surely it would be better for me to somehow give you some money towards a laptop and then you could send them. But yeah, something like that.
Right.
The main thing, Mandela Man, is I just hope we're on good terms now because
yeah, I'm cool.
The last 5 years have been really hard.
This is our third Christmas together, bro.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I remember.
Well, I think during the pandemic, I don't think many of us paid that much attention to Christmas, did we? We were just like, no, it's another day,
Unfortunately, that feels like part of the.
I mean, I'm not like a party person, the opposite, in fact, but.
No, it feels like that's part of the of Aquarius, everybody's kind of losing their interest in the holidays, in a way.
Some, I've noticed that some people really enjoy it though.
Yeah,
But it kind of like it's like they're putting it on.
like a longing to go back to a simpler time or something.
Well, yeah, definitely. People have that.
Yeah,
I think that's always there. I think even in those simpler times, it was never ideal, but it was definitely
pretty damn nice.
some of it was
Not
quite good.
Not ideal.
Well, you know, people still fell through the ice back in those days, and that's not nice, is it? You know, it's but
No, everybody's been very discriministic before now, and they're suddenly waking up to the fact that, like, why was I being that way? So it's like a big change for the whole of the race of humanity. You know, we're dealing with it.
maybe I don't know. I've never been like that, but I think you know it does. You are confronted with things more now, and I was watching a drama last night. Well, it's a kind of comedy, really, called Motherland, and in it basically it was about Christmas festivities and the frenetic sort of trying to do that. And the main woman character, she hates it, doesn't like doing any of the cooking and stuff for whatever reasons. Her husband's completely sort of useless, and so she gets a friend to help her with it all. Everything's going quite well. I think Johnny might be coming on now, actually, and then her mum's using a VR set to go climbing in the Himalayas. And she usually has these kind of slightly combative conversations with her mum, who's like, "Do you want me to buy you a Christmas present, mum?" No, don't worry about it this year, dear. So she doesn't buy her mum the Christmas present. Then her mum gets really upset. Anyway, her mum dies whilst she's wearing the VR headset.
Holy shit!
It's the way to go, though, isn't it?
No.
No, I know it was very dark. It was dark.
Kind of terrifying.
This one. It was very sad. So I can see Johnny's online now, but he's probably having some kind of problem. I don't know. I'll wait for him for another 5 minutes. But if it's like the middle of the night for him and it's like morning for me, what time is it for you? About 2 or something?
Yes, like 3, maybe.
But you're quite used to nights and stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. Sometimes I wake up at 6 in the morning. Sometimes I don't. No.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that, though. I just said you're used
I
to nights.
Like
6 a.m. is the morning, though.
Yeah, like I could wake up from 6 in the morning, but I've been sleeping through that day before. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole day.
You tend to have very long sleeps sometimes.
Yeah.
It can't be like that all the time, I imagine. Just
I don't know. I could never be up for just 12 hours. It's always got to be usually like 16 or more. I don't know. It's weird. Like I can't even try. Like I try to get out of the normal schedule. I don't know. It feels like time is moving faster. Like if you go one Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, like we used to do, and look at a stopwatch, it doesn't quite line up. It's like every 43 seconds is like what an old minute used to be. So the day being 16 hours long, it just feels right to me. Like I don't know. It's weird. You know what I mean? If the time is more constricted, the day, it's like let's say it was that way, that every 43 minutes is what an old minute used to be. 16 hours would be like 12 hours. It's because it's constricted, so it's extended at the end mathematically. Did you hear the news about the laser thing, James? They've supposedly invented perpetual motion.
I'm just gonna have to get some more water.
Livermore.
Can you just reach out to Johnny for me as a favor, please? Because I don't know what's going off. He said
Well,
he'd come on now.
I don't know how to do
I'm just
that.
going to have to go and get some more water.
Yeah, I'm not. Johnny, if you're watching this, you can hear me. If I go off, I'll get shut out of the video. Maybe I could leave and come back. I'll be right back. Or maybe I should, keep the airwaves going. Anyway, Livermore Labs in the U.S. announced it like a week or two ago that they shot 192 lasers into like a little glass thing with a little piece of matter in there. And the matter ignited. And that matter igniting for the first time had more power in it than is needed to power the 192 lasers that ignited it. So you would have excess power to store up. Hence it being perpetual motion, because if the 192 lasers can be powered by the spark and then some, stuff, extra energy could get stored in a battery and make like potentially like infinite energy for everybody. And they announced that to people, which is really kind of revolutionary, because before it would be hidden from the public. Now it's just, they're just letting the cat out of the bag, I guess. And they even said we're hiring. The Department of the Defense and Livermore Labs is hiring if anybody has any ideas on how to utilize this breakthrough. Basically, pretty weird stuff. Did you hear about that? The other week? That they shot 192 lasers into.
I'll just leave you to talk for a minute because I just need to just do something in the kitchen. So.
Oh, all right.
Hey, Mandela man.
Hey, Johnny.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, I was just outside. There's a blizzard out there. I was just doing some shoveling.
Yeah. Hey, turn your faucets on so drip.
Yeah, I know that trick. Yeah.
Warm water.
Yeah.
Preferably. Did you hear that news the other day that they Livermore Labs and the Department of Defense shot 192 lasers, like a little glass thing with a piece of matter? And the matter ignited, and it has more joules of energy than is needed to power the 192 lasers that ignited it.
Yeah, and it went like 100 million degrees or something.
Yeah, so it's like the world's first perpetual motion machine. Like, truly. We just got to learn how to utilize it.
Yeah. It reminds me of what is it, Spider-Man 2 when Dr. Ock creates like that sun, where he's just trying to basically do the same thing, fusion energy.
I can't believe they announced that to the public.
I guess they would have to because of public tax dollars going into it.
It's wild, bro. You're letting the whole cat out of the bag there. You're saying we could have infinite energy for everybody. Or we do. We do have it. They even said we're hiring if anybody has any ideas on how to utilize it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got this water wheel idea in my head.
Are those birds chirping I'm hearing? I mean, like birds or something.
I think so. I don't know what that is. This is radiator.
James just got a package for everybody.
Sounds like a Beatles record. So what's new, Johnny?
Not too much.
Christmas treat, yeah.
Not too bad. Just been working on a couple new tunes.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if we could do like a Christmas watch along or something. That'd be cool.
Bro, why don't I just record you one of my songs and then you can put a beat to it?
Yeah, do that. Just
I'll do it
to me.
I'll do it to like a click track.
Yeah, for sure. And just send it to me.
Something like that.
Yeah, no worries. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So it's on beat.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
Man, the snow's coming down so heavy outside.
Yeah, it's lame.
It's windy as fuck too, man. It's windy out there, man. Holy shit.
Some people think this is like winter is coming from Game of Thrones. Like this is it. This is the end of the world.
Oh shit.
I've seen some videos like that in the past couple of days.
Oh, fuck.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I remember when I was like a teenager, it was 50 below. It's the wind chill is 40 below. That doesn't mean it's actually 50 below. And I was outside in that 50 below shit, so it's not, this is not anything that hasn't happened before yet.
True, I hear you. On that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We've been around. We remember. Oh, that's beautiful sound of birds.
Like a bird's on a loop or something.
Yeah.
It's the same tone that keeps
It's
repeating.
Pink Floyd. Oma Noma Noma Noma. Or whatever the fuck it's called. Like an unpronounceable album name.
Yeah.
Maxima Soel or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I like that one.
So, with Avatar, were you excited with that, or no? You're gonna give that a pass?
Oh yeah, pass.
Oh, okay,
Sure.
okay. Just to make sure. Okay.
No way, dude. When they said it was going to be in the animal park, it was going to be a whole land. That was like the craziest decision I've ever heard a couple make in my life. That first movie was like a fucking mediocre 4 to 6.
I know.
Like, it sucked. To be honest, it was popular because that was the first time we had the new 3D. That's not color 3D.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Oh, no way.
It's the new Riddler.
I'd rather go see that Babylon Margot Robbie thing. Right?
Yeah, that looks interesting actually. Yeah, good cast too. Really good
What?
cast.
Apparently it's good.
James.
Sorry, don't worry. I just had an accident in the kitchen, so I'm going to sort it out in a minute.
Yeah, I'm blanking on that. What's the the other guy's name? I'm forgetting his name right now. It's got Margot Robbie and
Little.
yeah,
Little.
there it is. I don't know why I forgot.
This is Little. This is Big.
Oh wow, nice. Is that a record?
Which one do you want for Christmas?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh.
The record's always the better one.
I know, I'm going to get you the record, Johnny.
Nice.
It'll be there tomorrow, don't worry.
Cool.
They've
I'm
had,
just sending it.
they've had such a resurgence because of Grand Theft Auto, too.
Yeah.
That pushed them up the charts again.
Do you know every time they re-release those games, they have to take out songs because of copyright?
Yeah, I
That
do.
sucks. I've heard that every release is like 6 songs per station is taken out or something.
It's
like that.
awful, bro.
Yeah, because it destroys the mood. Their radio stations create the entire mood of the game. It's incredible.
So, Johnny, you can't have an original copy of that? It'll update itself if you put it into the machine?
Ooh, that's a good question. No, I think if you bought, say, a version of it that has it, that's yours. If you were to get some re-release type of thing, then it's like, yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
This
That would
cap's
be
actually
cool.
all right, though, isn't it?
That's pretty nice, actually, yeah.
It is cool.
I like the stonewashed denim look, but stonewashed denim jeans is pushing it slightly. And I've got everything like vintage. Look, got this iPhone here. Recently, the top of it cracked
like the
up
first-
here on the
it's
screen.
like
It's
the
got
first
like
version.
sellotape on it. And this is about the best thing you can get. It plays it. It doesn't play the music like at that sort of lowered volume. It's like now you go out, everything's like. Basically, they just want you to listen to music on your phone, which I hate because you can't
They do.
Yeah.
control it properly.
No.
Yeah, they've been pushing that pretty hard.
The best thing they had was the iShuffles because they were
Yes,
cheap and you could just go do like this.
Yep.
Skip a song if you didn't like it. And
Speaking of denim, you bring up, I just saw a movie. It was Silent Night 3, and it had Benjamin Horn from Twin Peaks and
Oh,
Leo.
original.
Oh
That makes
yeah,
sense.
And Leo was wearing all denim, man. He was rocking the denim.
you watched the whole movie? Where'd you
Well,
see
he
it?
does in Twin Peaks as well.
Oh, I found the stream of it. I was able to find. I went through all three of them because I saw a review in them. I'm like, I gotta binge watch all these.
I'm the one who posted that review. Yeah,
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw some review. I'm like, I gotta check these out. This is amazing.
I noticed that was a weird connection right there.
Yeah.
I imagine that Eric DeRay played Leo, like in most of his film roles, he was in denim.
He's fucking dressed like Bob. Yeah.
Because he wasn't actually like a trained actor. Like his whole history is just bizarre. Like he just went off the map for 20 years
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
reappeared all of a sudden at some convention recently.
Wow.
So Johnny, do you know if that's?
But he was actually accused. He was accused also
Oh,
of a Leo type of crime in
Oh,
Hollywood,
no.
of like setting a fire.
Oh shit, Leo. Why, Leo?
But
arson.
it wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Oh, okay. Was it? Okay, good.
It's probably just the way he looks, because he looks now like the same as he did as Leo, but like he's lost a bit of weight, kind of.
Wow. Yeah.
But I don't know. He'd be brilliant actually if they somehow brought Leo back. 'cause
And it's weird
they
when I
can
saw him
do
in
it.
that movie. It was like I was getting flashes of Stranger Things season 3, where they had Max's brother kind of dressing in that type of way, in the same hairstyle and stuff. It was just an 80s look. You know?
All right, so this is what I'm talking about. We find movies like this, and then we incorporate them into like the book narrative somehow.
James has already finished Volume 1. Now, what we need to do, Mandela Man, is Volume 2. Okay,
It's already done. It's already done.
it's already been done. In the future, it's already done. We just got to do it.
You mean in terms of
There you
my,
go.
like, I think a lot of my videos have almost gone in that direction anyway, the way the kind of editing and everything is. But to have them as a proper narration and something
It's the figuring
that
out
was
how to use that.
riffing off of the Secret History. We can't just start cribbing stuff straight out of the Secret History and then putting that on the screen. It's got to be.
Bro, Woody Allen used to make these movies where he would talk a new narrative over like a kung fu movie and shit. I mean, come on, we could do this. We should be able to do that.
I think you're mixing things up too much to the point where it just becomes unintelligible. Like, I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying, but
Gotta
are
figure
you saying that we do a reading of Mark Frost's book and then put a kung fu movie over it?
Yeah,
Whoa.
basically. Yeah,
I
basically.
mean, people will be like,
We find
you
clips
really need
You
to
lost the
stop
plot
doing this
there.
shit.
Yeah,
that somehow fit, we
There'll be
find
one person. This is brilliant.
yeah. There would definitely be one person.
Best
who gets
thing ever.
it. Yeah,
Well, that would be
we
me.
find
and-
clips of those actors.
that would be you. Yeah.
We find clips of those actors in other movies, and then we somehow work that into the plot of the audiobook. Yeah.
Somebody already tried to do that. Didn't that guy who had that channel? Then he ended up stopped doing this channel. He was trying to do that with other.
There's
movies.
one video
With
I've
Billy
seen.
Billy Zane or
cool.
something. Yeah.
There's one with like Major Briggs that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what I'm thinking of. Like,
Space Cadet, I think his name was. He did a whole thing where he's tried to.
Oh, Space Cadet, yeah.
He did a video where Billy Zane was in something, and he was trying to
Corey
connect it.
Kaplan, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. That kind of inspired me a little bit. Yeah. When he said
Good
about
idea.
the ball.
He's like goes off in areas where it's going into almost like and I don't like to just sort of be
That's why I
offhand
asked.
about things. It's like schizoid maneuvering kind of stuff, you know. It's
Well,
like,
that's why I asked. Was Silent Night?
you know, I mean, it is schizotypal. You know, when people start imagining stuff, just like
Yeah.
that is what it's actually called, not schizoid maneuvering.
art.
That's Wyndham Earle, but
It's art,
Mhm.
James.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. Yeah.
It's art, James.
no, I mean, with Wyndham Earle, he definitely had some mental issues, but he was also like somewhat.
On the ball.
Well, no, yeah, but like at the same time, he was manipulating what things were going on with him into a certain.
Like he lost his sense of morality, but he could still function as with the skill set. You know, the skill set he had.
Yeah, but he wasn't really fully in control of himself.
No.
Really, he was like
Almost a man possessed, almost. You know.
looking in on himself almost.
Yeah.
Which I think in that particular shot when Wyndham Earle was like reacting after Caroline being stabbed and everything, which I found quietly quite a troubling sort of thing in Cameron's film. I think it depicted it reasonably well. Not, I wouldn't give it like 10 out of 10, but I'd say it was. I think there's more you could have done with that, because I don't think that Windham was like just that though. Like, okay, I've done something bad, now I'm going to cower in a corner. I don't think he was really like that. He was more like he'd stand there just looking.
Yeah.
Even laughing to himself or something. I don't think he was someone who spent a lot of time in his feelings of, remorse, really.
No.
I mean, we didn't see that in the show, did we? So he was very much like, yeah, like you said, he'd lost any sense of morality, but he wasn't even operating in that sense. It was more about, he had just like this mission, of wanting
like a tunnel vision. He had one goal.
Absolutely, he wanted to avenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but at the same time, Cooper says Wyndham's mind is like a diamond, cold, hard, and brilliant. So. So that combination of like genius, but also such malevolence, made him such a good villain, I suppose. For some people, they didn't buy it all, but
oh, they just didn't get
at the time, which I slightly agree with. I don't think Wyndham Earp was necessarily the greatest villain of all time or anything like that, but in Twin Peaks, he was kind of pretty effective.
Oh, definitely.
Pretty good.
Could you imagine him without Twin Peaks without him? What a hole that would
be.
Yeah.
I think he was added in he was added in for the second season. He definitely added something to it, but I don't think he was the be all and end all of Twin Peaks.
No,
that's all.
Yeah.
One of the best parts.
Me too.
It was kind of a shame that they couldn't really fit him in somewhere in the return more.
Yeah.
So.
But
anyway,
Watch Lodge 49.
If you want to recommend anything you might be watching over this,
that's the closest thing to a
end of December. Before I want to finish in a minute, because it's like I think we've gone on for about 3 hours now. So,
hey man, I linked you guys to that movie, My Dinner with Andre. You should watch. It's an old movie. You should watch that movie. That's a really good movie. Like narrative wise, as far as the script goes, fucking writing is tight as hell. And it's pretty much like predicts like the world we're living in now. It's pretty eerie. Pretty damn good movie. I recommend that. That's Mandela Man's recommended film of the week.
The film of the week.
Well, here we go. Anyway, I'll just there are a few of these actually. I'll just put it up in a minute though. There were these trailers made for the Secret History of Twin Peaks, which I don't seem to think you've seen, Ben.
Oh yeah,
you have seen them.
Do tell.
Or,
no, I don't know.
You don't know if you've seen them, or
the behind the scenes.
Are you behind the scenes? Yes. I don't know.
I usually watch all the behind the scenes.
At this point, I don't even know what's happening. I just got up.
Yes, James.
I've been doing a video for nearly 3 hours of unfettered, complete insanity. I have to now go walking out for about 8 hours to be able to even... So that I don't go into my parents and say, hey guys, have you heard of the film My Dinner with Andre?
Hey guys.
James, get out. It's Christmas.
I like to keep it topical, guys. What can I say?
It's genuinely funny. I'm not, at least we'll be able to laugh about these things. But this is the... Can you hear it now? Very well, in their own way, just very simple.
Yeah, you can use some of the pictures from the book, but I'm talking about more of a,
This is an official trailer.
Oh,
Or
are they doing my idea? That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're doing your idea 5 years ago.
No, but if it was the whole two books,
how it's happening?
Cherry, the pie looks good. Yeah.
That pie was fresh about 10 weeks ago.
Is this like a trailer for the?
Has anybody analyzed these? Is there anything different that's in this trailer? That
No, I mean, I think that they're very well done in their simplicity and
Wow,
this
yeah.
speeding up of the tape. It's a tape.
No,
Yeah.
I've never seen this. No.
But even just the information that's going by, has anybody stopped and read each thing? And
No, not really. I mean, it's all in the book.
oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure Lynch will have approved this. You know.
I fucking love the book. The books seem to work into the narrative like pretty damn tightly, in my opinion.
It definitely did.
Like, and
Wow, it's a Matrix.
planned out like so crazy.
VHS. That's.
Yeah.
I'll show you the other one. This one is. It did the other shorter ones, which were even more strange.
Oh, that's a good. That's
so
a great
cool.
quote. That's a great quote.
No, come on, like the idea that Lynch didn't approve this, or at least was part of it, because
Yeah, for sure that one too. Yeah.
the way that
yeah.
That quote was
it's only available in 144.
Yeah.
It's like this was only shared mainly on like Facebook and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If you look at the way you see the way the floor is moving a bit.
Yeah.
That's the same as in the show. Like when it,
Yeah.
that noise is so Lynch. I mean, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he directed it, but I think he kind of went, try and make it like a bit like this or something. Because the whole thing of this, like how they wanted to separate everything. Like Lynch is like, yeah, I've not read the books. I even said that about The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer. I think what he means is he doesn't base what he's doing as a filmmaker on the books. He may look at them. I'm pretty sure he will have looked at Frost's books. I don't think he will have read them cover to cover slavishly, no. But
He may have got like an intern or somebody to read it just to make sure there was nothing said about him or something. I don't know.
well,
Obviously,
I think he trusts Frost, but I don't think he's got an intern. Honestly, I think he's got Sabrina Sutherland, and that's about it now. So
That's it. Oh, okay.
obviously he knows about specific things in the book, like that Jack Parsons. When it fast forwards to that date when that thing is born,
the Secret History book is about the world, the fictional world of Twin Peaks. Johnny, it's not about David Lynch.
Yeah. I know. I was getting
Oh, but, like,
confused with another. Yeah.
point Jack Parsons there. That's like cluing into he's a big part of the narrative because that date is his date when he completes his Babylon ritual. Happens to be that day? No.
Can we please stop talking about the film Babylon at this point?
The film Babylon 5.
I mean, we're going on about
Babylon ritual. It was called. You guys know about it. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in it.
That was the
He was in the sex ritual. Yeah.
You get the nuclear bomb blast. July 4th. That's all right.
I was in it.
Fast forwards to that specific date.
My ring up there, my ring of power, the ring of fire. Have you?
Yes.
Were you watching that, Johnny, when he was talking about that? And I mean, that was actually involved in the Babylon ritual.
Oh wow.
Cool. And I never saw those commercials. That was so dope.
Have you got any of these ring things?
Like a little-
lighting rings, Johnny.
There was a little fix of Twin Peaks
No.
for the holidays.
Mandela Man says that they've got like spy stuff in them.
What in what? Yeah, no, not spice. Well, it's
In my anus.
it's like spice. Johnny, you know what the Internet of Things is.
I actually bought some mince
I've got-
pies yesterday, right? They had like bugs in them, and I said to the shop, "What's this here?" And they said, "We're just spying on you because we want to see you in the shower."
Are you talking about the nanobots that are in food or something? I saw some YouTube video.
No, I've got nanobots in my shower actually.
I'm just like, this is right out of James Bond.
It's like a chip that's in like household items, like your Gillette razor, stuff like that.
Toilet paper.
Oh wow, no, I've
All
never heard.
kinds of things, not toilet paper. I hope not.
Not toilet paper, yeah.
But it'll be in your dishwasher. It'll be in your smart TV. But it'll also be in some household objects that they sell to you at the marketplace.
Right, but what is the exact purpose of what?
Oh,
they're
the Internet
spying?
of Things, and then they all can communicate.
If
and-
my TV's got spy bot stuff in it, is it spying on me wanking?
There's no camera, but it could hear
No.
you if it's got a microphone.
So it can hear me talking about wanking.
It's
Again, they
more-
would have to be specifically listening.
James, it's more like it sees it in sonar vision. You wanking.
Re-
Oh shit!
really making me feel upset now.
Yeah.
Because also, I just wanted to put this out there to everybody. And as a quotable, if anyone wants to do a capture of this, I just want to say I am not a wanker, okay?
It's quotable.
I'm a notorious wanker.
He's notorious.
What? Notorious for it?
I have a problem.
As if it's like some kind of unusual thing that
Gonna get the water bottle, spray
people
him.
have never seen before. They said he's wanking again. I've never seen that happen before. Ever.
Oh, that was weird. Like,
I mean, I was going through town, honestly, in the town. I mean, Derby, the richness of Derby, which a guy yesterday said to me is a one-horse town. I thought, I've heard it before, but
One horse town.
it is, though. It's so true.
Just imagine a family.
He's got like stuff that a city would have, but then you're like, I said to one guy, I said, "Is there a coffee machine or anything like that around here?" He goes, "No, it's a one-horse town."
That's
And I was just like, okay, thank you. That's a lot very helpful.
hitting the Dusty Old Trail now.
Yeah, looking off into the direct sort of sunset. Like,
Yeah.
last saying. Like a Norm MacDonald saying or something.
it's like something from Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
That's the average person around here. The thing is, though,
Back to
what
the
was I
Future
getting
3.
to? Like, I can't remember what it was.
That's good.
Oh, no, I was going through the flipping middle of Derby, like near this old church and stuff, which is a bit of a... It's not used at the moment, but it's just it used to have businesses and this homeless people or druggy people hanging around a lot sometimes. I just go down one area. There's a woman filleting a homeless woman filleting a homeless man, and I was just like walking right past it, and I was like,
Don't make eye
"Fuck's sake,
contact.
this is pushing it now. This is pushing
Not in my town. Not in my one horse town.
That's that globalist.
No, but seriously, if children just walk down there or anything, I mean, it's just that was like debauchery to the next level.
Yeah.
Like there's bloody alleyways and you syringes down there and shit, and and literal shit and stuff. It's just absolute squalor.
Yeah.
We're
I informed these
we're having the same problem, James. You're not alone.
what people filleting.
Yeah.
Things are going on outside.
I was just going to the shop, no more people. There's one man wanking on the street corner. Another
They're everywhere.
couple. They looked actually quite decent.
Oh.
He was tonguing her in her vag.
Oh my god.
That is very last exit to Brooklyn, isn't it? Though?
You probably have the most romantic alleyways.
Yeah, or like a dirty version of The Cell of Stephen King, But instead of that, everyone's filleting each other.
Yeah, I think any fellatio is probably one of the most romantic activities known to man,
Yeah.
Nice and then going on there.
especially at Christmas. While singing Silent Night.
Yeah.
Silent Night. No, I don't think. No, honestly, I didn't approve of that, so I'm not making a joke of it. It was just pushing it too much.
I did approve that.
And it didn't get my approval. I'll say that.
Yeah.
There were these community sort of police officers, and I said to them,
There they are.
there's something going off over there. And they went, oh, like as if it's just like another thing that happens.
Yeah. They probably know him by name. You two, get out of here.
Yeah, you two, stop filleting.
That's like my homeless witches story. When I was in the
No, but
war.
it is against the law. Come on, you can't just do that on the street.
No.
There'll be people pumping on everywhere.
Everywhere. Be anarchy.
Yeah. Imagine going in church on Christmas Day and then you go outside and there's two men like dogging outside. It's not.
Oh my god.
You know,
Dogging.
no.
You
Do
know,
I know dogging? No,
I got another recommendation for you guys.
I'm not a dogging fan, to be honest.
Okay.
The Mosquito Coast with Justin Theroux on Apple Plus is excellent.
I might have to get Apple Plus because
I think that might actually be something of interest to me. But
Yeah, Johnny.
they're coming out with Necromancer, I think.
Yeah.
I had like
Yeah.
Cody Firestick and stuff to
Good
watch,
stuff.
free stuff, but they always have to keep updating it.
Yeah.
Because then it just stops working, and I'm like searching for stuff, and it's like nothing coming up.
The Shyamalan show is pretty good on there. And they got Severance that Ben Stiller's doing.
Me, I'm
Those
just
are
looking for
all- those
Necromancer
are all quality shit.
or Necromancer.
Yeah.
Is that something you just mentioned?
A Necromancer, huh?
Is that what it is?
So I mentioned the novel, didn't I, by William Gibson? It was
Oh.
because I studied sci-fi at one part, and it was like kind of all very unusual for me in a way. I mean, obviously I knew sci-fi, but not to that level.
Yeah, him and Philip K. Dick, who did like Total Recall.
That's who I was trying to think of.
those
right?
are like the the
Yeah.
fathers of cyberpunk. Those two right there.
Philip K. Dick, he gave that speech. Some of us in the Mandela Effect community think he might be the first one to experience it. When he gave that speech, and everybody thought he was nuts at the time about different worlds and such.
How can there be just one person who first experienced it? I mean, surely it must be like some kind of.
I don't know, James. I don't know how this. I just look at how it works. You know, sometimes
I would have thought it would be something more like in.
Sometimes you see a flip flop, something go one.
Yeah, I
way.
saw your discussion today with other Ben. you
bizarre.
tried to convince him today. It was pretty funny. In the
No,
chat.
it's all right. Whatever. That's cool.
I would love to see that debate if James ever allows it. It'd be
Debating who?
amazing.
Oh, that'd be
Ben
great.
Ben versus Ben. It'd be amazing. Even if it's only 10 minutes, that'd be great.
Oh, in the chat, you mean?
Yeah. Even here, if they had a live debate, 10 minutes. That's all. They could both give their point, and then you be the judge of who gives the better, and then that's it. You know. So,
Yeah, but you can't be like Joe Rogan bullshit. Where we're not gonna
Joe
look
Rogan.
up anything Ben talks.
Yeah, you look over to your producer. I'll look it up for James. Well, he'll look over. I'll look it up for him.
Oh no, he keeps saying, "Look that up for me. Look that up."
yeah.
I know you, Joe. Imagine if his producer said that.
Mm-hmm.
Joe would stand up and start,
Fighting him or something. I don't
whipping some ass. He'd get like a whip and then pull the other guy's pants down and start whipping his ass, saying, "I'm gonna do it to you."
know. Yeah, too. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
who knows? I might like that.
I wonder if I bet Joe Rogan is quite a gay icon. The people who
Maybe.
look like
He
who are
is.
into guys whose whole head looks like it's just sweating bullets constantly.
Well,
Because he's always on. He's always microdosing on something. That's why.
hey, when Trump was getting elected, he was on the
Oh, you
train
said the
He's
forbidden
on
word.
HGH and
talking
TLC
about
and
tranny all the time, Joe. He was tranny this and tranny that with Joe around that time. I don't know if you guys remember that. He kept
You
talking
mean
about.
like Alex Jones?
Joe Rogan kept talking about.
Alex Jones was into trans stuff.
I heard that also. I heard
Well,
that.
you don't need to hear it. It's shown.
It
They
was
got caps of his
supposedly-
phone and everything.
Yeah,
he was looking
supposedly
at
found on
trans
the
porn,
phone, right? Yeah,
which is completely allowed.
Yeah.
correct.
But if you look like that, it is hilarious.
Or if you act
Yeah.
hypocritical like he does. Everything with him is just he says one thing and does the other.
Precisely. It is. It's all
I mean-
about like kind of. But to be honest, he did hold his own against
I seen him with
when he
Blair.
had Kanye on, apparently. So
I seen him with Blair White. I mean, it's not like he's anti-trans or anything. Let's be real.
no. But he does kind of like hold himself up as like this family man guy, and then it's like, hey, so that's dishonest, isn't it? Like if he
Yeah.
said,
Why-
yes, I've got a family, but I like, ladyboys, then people might respect him a bit more.
Yeah.
Have you
just
seen his
said it.
wife? She's a fucking lady boy. The
Not
second,
literally, but she looks
the
like one.
second wife. Look at the second wife. She's like, look at my guns. It's like fucking obvious.
Well, I'm going to head off now anyway because I need
Like,
to
"Get on my
just,
lap, buddy."
like I said, go on an 8-hour walk just to cope with things generally,
Yeah.
and just think about trans people, etc. And
He goes, "Come here, everybody. Look at my wife. Isn't she hot? Sit on my lap. Sit on my lap, honey. Look at her guns."
all right, Mandela man, let me finish the show, please. I don't want to think about that. That's making me feel actually like I'm gonna probably
doing a wrestling
just randomly soil myself in a field or
like a
something.
wrestling promo.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, thank you very much, both of you. Have a good Christmas Eve, and I hope you don't get snowed in, Johnny, as well. So
Yes, thank you for that.
Merry solstice to you, gentlemen, and a happy New Year.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
okay, don't get lost in the
Return.
mindscape of constant Mandela effects. Okay. Well, hopefully, I mean, I'll upload this video to the normal channel, the Coffee Time channel, but
I mean, look what happened to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's
all right, I'm going now.
Okay, have a good one, everyone.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mandela Man. Now. Thank
all
you.
right.